Guys, hopefully this shit is working right now. Well, so today we got a special treat. And not really a fucking special treat, but we're going to go into some funny shit. So the first thing is going to be what the fuck is happening on TikTok. So I don't know if you guys have ever been on fucking TikTok live, but it's literally the cringiest shit ever. If you use TikTok live unironically, you should be sent to a fucking work camp. And we're going to show you some of the fucking absolute creatures that are on TikTok live. Double check you can see this shit. Looks like we're fucking good, baby. Sweet. All right. So I feel like TikTok live should be studied. I'm glad I didn't have this shit when I was a kid, because I'm sure I don't think I would have been this fucking weird. But man, it's everybody on fucking TikTok is such a fucking weirdo, dude. Everybody's such a fucking goober. I don't know what it is. I don't know why all of the fucking weirdos went to TikTok. I think it's because of the censorship. Because if you go to a school that has a lot of bullying, there's going to be less dudes running around with cat ears. Okay? You're not going to have boys dressing up as girls going into locker rooms if people are getting bullied for being weird. And I think bullying is a very good social regulator. And TikTok has no fucking bullying. I mean, dude, I've gotten my shit taken down. I got my shit on Instagram taken down a few times. I called this guy a fucking chicken licking monkey. You know, in my defense, he said, "Your women want black men." I said, "All women want me more than you, you chicken licking monkey," which I thought was funny. Okay, he started it, and I obviously clowned on him better. Anyway, I digress. So TikTok has no fucking bullying. And because of no bullying, you end up with fucking weird shit like this. And excuse me, I'm a bit of a fucking retard. See, look, I've just fucking changed this shit. Let's not do that, dude. Oh, no. Okay, I'm fucking retarded, bro. It's all the crack. All right, I'm going to make this a little bigger so you guys can fucking see it. Look at this fucking guy, dude. Look at this fucking guy. Circumcision makes sex worse. As if this motherfucker would know. See, this guy, if we lived in a proper country, this guy would be getting noogies every fucking day of his life. He would literally be getting noogies every day of his life, getting swirlies. But instead, this triple-chinned fuck thinks that it's okay to, like, and look at everybody in his fucking group, bro. Just look at everybody who's engaging in this conversation. A bunch of fucking dudes who get no pussy. It is just and I'm not kidding. Mr. Quack, by the way. I want to bully the fuck out of that guy, dude. I want to bully him. And not in a malicious way, but because I care about him. And I want his life to be better. So I want to fucking slap books out of his hand. I didn't bully kids in high school. But as I get older, I just see the utility in it. But this guy, in a proper society, people would just tell this guy to shut the fuck up, and they would laugh at him. Because how the hell, 100 years ago, this guy being the weight that he is, would be along the lines of somebody who shit in their hand and threw it at people in the street. People would be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're a crazy person. You should be put in an insane asylum. This guy's literally eating himself into a physical anomaly. He's equivalent to walking down the street and seeing a giant pile of human shit on the ground. It's visual pollution. People who are extremely fat do not care about anybody but themselves, and they are incapable of empathy. Because if they had empathy, they wouldn't look so fucking disgusting. Because I'm walking down the road, and I'm having a good day, and then I see an absolute atrocity of a person. I see this person who's attempting to kill themselves through their diet, has no self-control, who's greasy and probably smells like a sourdough starter. Okay? And like, what the fuck is going on, dude? What the fuck is going on? Why are people allowed to be this fat? Why are people allowed to be this fat and gross? Unabated. As I was saying, and it's always the fat girls who have loud, annoying fucking laughs. When you go to a comedy show and you hear this loud, piercing cackle that makes it hard to sit down and enjoy the show, it's always a fat chick. Every single time, it is always a fat girl. Don't believe me? I'm right. Always a fat girl. So, just goes to show they don't give a fuck. And I don't know if you guys have seen those videos on YouTube where it's like, pay it forward or take this box of donuts. 2 boxes of donuts for the next guy or a box of donuts for you. Or one in particular, it was, would you like to get this free ice cream cone or pay it forward and the next person gets 2? Every single time, the person who ends up taking all of them is a fat person. Okay, because they don't give a fuck. And that's a real thing. I don't want to walk around and make people stare at me being disgusting. Like, if I have too much self-respect. I don't have that much, but I'm vain enough where, and also somewhat considerate enough, where I don't want to walk down the street and have to have people look at my disgusting body if I was obese. Like, if you just had an atrocious, just open wound on your face that made people want to throw up and it was just oozing, you probably wouldn't want to go in public, even if you didn't care what people thought of you. You probably wouldn't want to go to a nice restaurant and eat with a massive green, a gangrenous wound that smelled bad and oozed shit, because you're like, if you were a normal human with some consideration, you would think, oh, I don't want people to be grossed out. Okay, 1 second. I don't know how to fucking, god damn it, I hate fucking YouTube, bro. Okay. What's good, hombre? What's good, salary man? Okay, anyway, as I was saying. Anyway, fat people are gross. This guy's fucking weird, dude. This guy's a fucking weirdo. Next one. Carmelo Anthony is the victim. And this wasn't even me picking and choosing. I just went on TikTok Live and I screenshotted every single one that popped up over the course of a couple days. And without editing any out, this is the order that they came in. Carmelo Anthony is the victim. Austin Metcalf had a system backing him. Now, this is why, like, if anybody with above a 90 IQ can immediately see that situation and know that that kid was in the fucking wrong. But people have the balls or the retardation to see that. And that whole thing, and you'll see this all over Twitter, which I fucking hate going on. But you'll see this all over Twitter. You'll see people hop on, and a lot of times it's black people in the comment section being like, oh, this will probably teach that white boy, this will probably teach you to teach your kids not to bully black kids. It's like, let's just say that is the case. Let's say that kid was getting bullied. When you were getting bullied in school, which some of us did, when you were getting bullied in school, did you stab somebody in the chest? And this is the thing. There's a whole race of people out there that 90% of them lack the mental capacity to have accountability, because empathy requires a certain level of intelligence. Number one, okay? It requires you to exercise a little bit more RAM. And if there's a person out there that doesn't really have the ability to have multiple windows open on their computer, and the only window they can have open is me, they're not really going to be able to have the capacity to have other windows open that might consider, maybe hypotheticals. They can't have hypotheticals running in the background. They can't have other people's experiences running in the background. They're limited to one window, and that is myself. So these people can't comprehend. There's a whole group of people out there who literally are incapable of comprehending shit in general. That whole thing, what did you have for breakfast? Like, what would you do if you didn't have breakfast? Or how would you feel if you didn't have breakfast today? That's a real thing. We have a whole group of people out there who are incapable of putting themselves in other people's shoes. So they can't imagine a world where they're not like this. So, fucking crazy. I'm trying to orient my screen real quick. 1 second. Move, motherfucker. Okay, there it is. Okay. Motherfucker, bro. 1 second. There you go. Okay, that looks better. And it's just fucking, bro. It's just the fucking dumbest shit, homie. It's the dumbest shit going through TikTok Live. It genuinely fucking pisses me off. I went to talk to straight people. I have questions, and I don't feel like I just need to even I don't even need to comment on this shit. I feel like me and my homies would just sit here and just look at these, and they're so fucking funny that it doesn't even require you to laugh. It's just goofy as hell, dude. And how do I fucking adjust the... Here I am talking about people being retarded. Look at this chick, bro. Another fat person. Okay. Another fat person. I want to talk to straight people. I have questions. Okay, next one. Can you guys guess what race she is? If you were looking at this beautiful creature, and it just so happens that almost all these people are fucking fat. So, if you had to guess the soulless stare, what race of person that this homunculus stare belongs to, what race would you guess? You guessed right. If you guessed Jewish and native, you guessed right. $2 a card. Got her cash up on there. Once again, in a proper society, number one, these people probably wouldn't exist. And number two, these people would be absolutely ostracized. Look at the soulless fucking stare of this chick, dude. This chick has the right to vote. Next one. Trans identities are valid. Gender critical isn't real. You're just a T-phobe. Everyone should sit to pee. All right, so I know, but this is fun. That sounds funny, right? That sounds like, that queen might be onto something, right? Let's take a little gander. God damn it. How do I zoom this shit in, bro? I fucking hate OBS on me. Look at that. Look at that little jump scare. Look at that person's fucking face, dude. So the biggest lie that we were told was that you cannot judge a book by its cover. Look at that absolute fucking creature. You can absolutely judge a book by its cover. If a person looks like a creature, they're going to be a fucking creature. Your inner environment is a direct reflection of your outer environment. God damn it, bro. I fucking hate OBS on me. I got so much shit going on. And I need to stop saying God damn it. It's ruining the fucking stream that I can't fucking use this stupid app. So that's another thing, bro. Everyone wants to put homophobe on, or like phobia on shit. And all that is, the only reason why anybody puts phobia at the end of things, it's never genuine. It's always disingenuous, and it's always to stifle opposition. It's like homophobia, transphobia, Islamophobia. It's like all that is an effort to prevent criticism and prevent people from speaking out against it. But if I look at this fucking person who's clearly a dude and clearly mentally deranged and also black, okay, which there's nothing wrong with that, but this black person, and that's another fucking thing, but all these transsexuals, dude, all these fucking weird trannies always have some fucking weird name like Astra or like Cosmos or I don't fucking know, bro. They always got some weird ass fucking names. But that's an absolute fucking creature, dude. Next one. And this fucking absolute doofus, dude. Capitalism is outdated. Answering questions about post-labor economics. What is this fucking guy, bro? What the fuck is this guy? Absolutely insane that people like this are even allowed to speak. All right, we're going to zoom past ones. My general science takes, bro, I've been seeing this topic a lot. Earth is not flat. The firmament can't exist. There are multiple animals today that are evidence for evolution. Dinosaurs are real. Fossils are too. Best dinosaur is Shent, whatever. NASA is telling the truth about space. We landed on the moon. Sharks are fish and humans are apes. Veganism isn't always the right option. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's wrong or scary. I'm a God-fearing Christian, by the way. So if you're a Christian, you disagree. Why? First of all, I want to punch this guy in his stupid fucking face. All right, that's number one. Look at this fucking dweeb, homie. So, number one, if you're a Christian, okay? So the majority of people out there who say that they're Christians are absolutely not Christians. And then number two, this guy's literally just drinking the Kool-Aid, and he is saying all of the mainstream fucking shit. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about how fucking dinosaurs are not real. So dinosaurs are one of the biggest fucking psyops, as well as space. And both of those things put together have been utilized by the media to make people not believe in God. Okay. So the science fiction industry, the entire science fiction style of fucking writing was infiltrated in the 1950s by Jews. And you'll see this a whole lot. You'll see Jewish women with massive titties be sent as almost like sirens into groups of people. And guys like these science fiction writers get absolutely no pussy. They don't know how to talk to women. So when this Jewish girl with massive titties comes up to you and basically honeypots you, what are you going to do? You're going to fucking give in, okay? And the majority of these science fiction writers and a lot of actors and entertainment in general were infiltrated by the CIA, okay? So we got to understand that this whole dinosaur myth and this whole fucking space myth has been perpetuated by people who don't want us to believe in God. And that might sound crazy. It's like, Seth, you're fucking insane, dude. It's like, bro, space is totally real. I'm not saying space isn't real. But what I am saying is that this whole fucking idea of there being other life on other planets, us going to the moon, and all of this has been entirely fabricated. Because the people who want to see us destroyed know for sure that the best way to do that is to erode the social fabric. And what is one way that you do that? Changing paradigms and worldviews. And if people on Earth stop believing in God and stop believing that they're significant, okay? Like, look at the, how do you think that this would change your life? If you sat here and you believed that human beings were significant and that we were put here for a reason and you were told this from birth, or if you were told that there's life on other planets that were insignificant and that we're just a stupid little ball, insignificant ball that is floating around in space, and that basically we're insignificant. And because of that, it disproves your God. So there's only two different worldviews that people adopt. There is the creationist worldview, and then there is the naturalistic worldview. And evolution has a shit ton of holes in it. I would recommend reading a book called Darwin on Trial, and then Darwin Under the Microscope. Darwin Under the Microscope. Both of those books go very deeply into how it's flawed, and how much of the science and much of the animals, like those moths and all of this shit, were completely fabricated. The photos were shopped, the photos were photoshopped, or they were staged. Let's talk about fucking dinosaur bones, dude. First of all, how the fuck do you know what a dinosaur looks like? They have absolutely no fucking clue what a dinosaur looks like. And we're going to look up some shit. I'm going to show you guys. Because here's the thing, is to the average layman, pedestrian, retard who doesn't actually look into things and who just take what people say as gospel, okay, they would say, oh, look at this giant, we found a fucking toe bone and we found a fingernail. And by the way, we can judge by that how it sounds and what it looked like. The average retard might think, oh, that makes sense. To anybody with 1 ounce of critical thinking ability, you would hear them say that and think, bro, I think that you might just be fucking with me. Okay, so here you go. We're going to look some shit up here. Screen capture, nigga. All right. And how do I close? I want to get that guy's ugly fucking face out of here, bro. I'm done with the TikTok fucking periods. TikTok shit. Okay, TikTok live. Get out of here, bro. God, that guy's ugly as hell, bro. Some people are just hard to look at, dude. And that's okay. That's okay that they're really hard to look at and disgusting. Okay, what the fuck is happening? Oh, dude, I want to fucking punch my screen. Okay. God damn it. Okay, 1 second, guys. Fucking A, dude. Motherfucker, bro. Okay. 1 second, guys. Okay, I need a fucking immigrant to come. I need a Pakistani immigrant to come help me out with my OBS, bro, because I have Down syndrome. Okay, that's how you do that. Sick. Fuck, bro, I'm such a fucking retard on me. All right. Why is this happening? Sorry, guys. Okay, it's gonna take 1 second. We're running in some fucking retard person difficulties. Everybody just give me 1 second. Okay, all right. So we're gonna look some shit up here. Okay, just don't. If you see femboy point on here, don't worry about it. All right. We'll do most complete dinosaur skeleton. Boom. Oh, awesome, sweet. Let's look. It was later determined that Sue was a record 90% complete by bulk and 73% complete by counting the elements. Of the 360 known T-Rex bones, around 250 have been recovered. Science. Okay, right here. Let's look at this. It's Wikipedia, so we can look at the sources. But right here, during the summer of 1990, a group of workers from the Black Hills Institute, already sketchy, located in Hill City, searched for fossils at the Cheyenne River Indian Reservation in western South Dakota near the City of Faith. By the end of the summer, the group had discovered bones. See, this is also why I know that these guys are just straight up fucking dweebs, dude. It is because these fucking guys, 1 second. These fucking guys name shit retarded. Oh, dude. All right, cool. Now I'm going to make this smaller. Nope, not the right fucking one. Ah, gosh damn it, bro. There you go. I'll put myself in a nice little fucking corner over here. I should have probably done this before, but fuck you guys. Okay. So, however, a flat tire was discovered on their truck before the group could depart on August 12th. See, this is already, when you hear somebody talking about lies, this is already how you know that they're fucking lying, going into unnecessary details. I'm looking for an article about T-Rexes and they're getting into flat tires. It's like a girl when she's telling you that it's like, what'd you do last night? Oh, I went out with some girls, and it just gets overly descriptive about the event. You know what I mean? And you're just like, yeah, I feel like you're fucking lying to me now. I didn't before, but now I do. While the rest of the group went into the town to repair the truck, Sue Hendrickson decided to explore the nearby cliffs that the group had not checked. As she was walking along the base of a cliff, she discovered some small pieces of bone. Okay, guys. I don't know about you, but this story already sounds like fucking bullshit. It smells like bullshit, dude. How believable do you think that is? So, a group of workers from the Black Hills Institute, located in Hill City, blah, blah, blah. A flat tire was discovered on their truck before the group could depart on August 12th. While the rest of the group went into town to repair the truck, Sue Hendrickson, some girl boss, a fucking woman, number one, this is how I know this isn't real, because a woman discovered it. And as you guys know, women can't look for, not all of them, okay, but they don't even know where, they miss road signs all the time. And you're telling me that this chick saw some fucking little tiny bones just sticking out of the dirt. How many thousands of years ago was this? And you just see bones sticking out of the dirt? Yeah, fucking right, dude. Okay. Yeah, fucking right. Okay. We're going to open that link in new tab and we're going to visit that article a little bit later. one second. Whatever. She looked above to see where the bones had originated and observed larger bones protruding from the wall of the cliff. She returned to the camp with 2 small pieces of the bones and reported the discovery to the president of the Black Hills Institute, Peter Larson. Let's look up Peter Larson. And just something tells me that he might be Jewish. He determined that the bones were from a T-Rex by their distinctive contour and texture. Later, closer examination of the site showed many visible bones above the ground and some articulated vertebrae. Okay, how the fuck do I get my screen to... Okay, that looks fucking retarded. Okay, we're just gonna keep it like this. I fucking hate how stupid I am sometimes. Okay. Right here. The crew ordered extra plaster, and although some of the crew had to depart, Hendrickson and a few other workers began to uncover the bones. The group was excited, as it was evident that much of the dinosaur had been preserved. Previously discovered T-Rex skeletons were usually missing over half of their bones. Okay. It was later determined that Sue was a record 90% complete by bulk and 73% complete by counting the elements. See, let's say that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, whatever, that sounds retarded. Scientists believe that the specimen was covered by water and mud soon after its death, which prevented other animals from carrying away the bones. Sick. When the fossil was found, the hip bones were above the skull and the leg bones were intertwined with the ribs. The large size and the excellent condition of the bones were also surprising. Let's try to find some photos of this. Because guess what, guys? If they don't have photos of this exact thing that they're talking about, you obviously know they're fucking lying. Obviously, right? Obviously. Because, of course, they would take... Just like when you go to a crime scene, they take photos. And if you're saying, oh, blah, blah, this, they obviously would have taken photos of it in the ground. So I'm not saying they did, but we're going to find out. When the fossil was found, the hip bones were above the skull and the leg bones were intertwined with the ribs. The large size of the excellent condition of the bones were also surprising. The skull was blah, blah, blah long, and most of the teeth were still intact. After the group completed excavating the bones, each block was covered in burlap and coated in plaster, followed by a transfer to the offices of the Black Hills Institute, where they began to clean the bones. Soon after the fossil was found, a dispute arose over legal ownership. The Black Hills Institute had obtained permission from the owner. Okay, let's move forward a little bit. And the Sioux tribe, Native Americans, said that it was theirs. That's very Native American of them to say that something's theirs, even though they don't believe in ownership. I thought they didn't believe in ownership or land ownership. You guys know that, right? Like when we showed up there, the term Indian giving came from Indians because they had no concept of ownership. So they would Indian give shit to us. And that's where most of the disputes actually originated, was because when we went over there and we'd be like, hey, let's get this. And they would give us a stupid good deal. We would take it and be like, yeah, we'd be stupid not to take this fucking piece of land for 3 pelts and a fucking pig, you know, or 3 pelts and a horse. And we'd be like, these guys just really like, this is just a really good deal. Nope. They would come back and be like, give it back to us. And when we would say no, they would come in and kill everybody who settled there. So that's what happened. In 1996, Larson was sentenced to a 2-year prison sentence involving customs violations unrelated to the T-Rex after a lengthy civil course. The court decreed that Maurice Williams retained ownership. The Williams then decided to sell the remains and contracted with Sotheby's to auction the specimen. This just already sounds like fucking bullshit, bro. This already sounds retarded. Many of the time worried that the fossil would end up in a private collection where people would not be able to observe it. The Field Museum in Chicago was also concerned about this possibility and decided to attempt to purchase it. However, the organization realized that they might have difficulty securing funding and requested that companies and private citizens provide financial support. Okay, if they really found the most, the most famous dinosaur skeleton of all time, do you really think that there'd be this issue? You really think that there would be all these problems, guys? You really think that? On October 4th, 1997, the auction began at $500,000. Yeah, I mean, do you really think that they would be auctioning off dinosaur skeletons? I mean, what is fucking going on, dude? The Field Museum had purchased the remains with the highest bid of $7.6 million, which eclipsed bids made on behalf of the Smithsonian's National Museum. Okay, Life and death, bone damage. Close examination of the bones revealed that Sue was 27 to 33 years old. Also, how the fuck do they know that? We just take this stuff for gospel, okay? How the fuck are they going to know? They don't know the rate of growth of these animals. They don't know how big they are. Just bone damage. Oh, okay, you fucking retard. That's like a girl telling me she knows what my future is going to look like because I have, a certain type of fucking palm pattern. You hear that stuff and you're like, oh, you're retarded. This is retarded. But we'll hear it, a fucking dude say, yeah, man, it was about 27 to 33 years old, arbitrary fucking number. Because of the bone damage, bro. Because it had the bone damage. Because it had fucking dinosaur arthritis. You have no fucking idea the lives that they lived, how much they moved, how long their life expectancy was. They literally have no fucking clue. There's no way they could know. There's no way they could know how long they remained infants or anything like that. Or if the Earth was supposedly a completely different period time back then. All the soil had different types of nutrients in it. There was different, the radiation from the sun was different. The environment was almost entirely different, right? Still remotely the same, right? But the levels of everything were different. How the fuck do they know anything? They don't, okay? This is literally just some fucking dweeb in a lab coat that gets no pussy being like, yeah, man, it's 27 to 33. I don't know if you guys know about doctors or going to a specialist, how much they get shit wrong, okay? But I think this is one instance, guys. With 33 years old being the best supportive estimate in this range. Fuck, I just moved my shit. This was originally estimated at 28 years old, with a later analysis updating the age estimate. Okay, one second. We're going to go to this thing real quick. And number 2. Okay. Osteohistological analysis revealed diverse strategies of theropod dinosaur body size evolution. Okay, so this seems like the method they use to measure this stupid fucking thing. Abstract. The independent evolution of gigantism among dinosaurs has been a topic of long-standing interest, but it remains unclear if gigantic theropods, what a nerd name, the largest bipeds in the fossil record, all achieved massive sizes in the same manner. Questions I'm asking. Or through different strategies. We perform multi-element histological analysis on a phylogenetically broad dataset sampled from 8 theropod families, with a focus on gigantic tyrannosaurids and carcharodontosaurids, to reconstruct the growth strategies of these lineages and test if particular bones consistently preserve the most complete growth record. Abstract. Let's go to the methods. Right here. So look at this graph. They're like, oh, look, graph. Graph. Bullshit. Okay. Growth curve right here. Okay. We'll go by the methods. Institutional abbreviations, but taxonic element and catalog number identification of sampled specimens are provided in figures 1-2. Electronic supplementary material. Okay. Lag circumferences were estimated for the Tyrannosaurus and the Campanus. I'm not saying that. Samples using growth zone radii from cores and measured circumferential dimensions of the whole bones, with lag circumferences for other specimens directly measured from full sections and or retro-deformed sections. While growth zone radii cannot be considered directly equivalent to full measures of zone area, lag circumference, the roughly circular to elliptical and relatively constrained growth pattern of the femur and other theropods suggests that the patterns observed here should be broadly consistent with the overall pattern of the femur growth in this individual. So they're basically saying that they're extrapolating the way other dinosaurs grew to how this specific dinosaur grew. So they're just completely extrapolating it. And also, I'm not going to spend the time to do this, but you see that this isn't like an exact science. That what they're using to measure this is purely based off of guesses from other animals, which I'm guessing, because I was right the first time, and I'm probably right this time, that the fossil record from those other animals is probably pretty incomplete. Number one, how the fuck do they know how old those were? Okay, and you can get into, oh, they do all this kind of stuff, but I say most of it's bullshit. They have no fucking clue. The thing is, all of these people want to know, and they want to feel smart. So what they do is they just guess. So all this whole thing is basically saying is they fucking guessed. There's no way to actually tell. Especially since these fuckers were arguing it's 27 to 33. And you know, those whole conversations were just like guys sitting around and just basically being Jews about it, being like, oh, well, I think it's 27 because of this. I think it's 23 or 33 because of this. Gay bullshit. Okay. We're going to look at Peter Larson real quick. Was Peter Larson Jewish? Command F. Jew-ish. Okay. Doesn't look like he was Jewish. Sioux federal raid and criminal conviction. So one of the guys who was involved was actually arrested in 1990. Oh, wait, no, 1992. On May 14th, 1992, 2 years after, a raid led by the state's U.S. attorney, Kevin Schiffer, Jewish, with 35 FBI agents. That's a lot of fucking FBI agents, guys. And 20 National Guardsmen recovered the Tyrannosaurus Rex named Sue from Larson's fossil poaching operation. That sounds kind of sketchy, right? The Black Hills Institute of Geological Research. The federal agents seized the fossil of Sue along with other fossils and records. The specimen was taken by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Although Larson had paid the landowner for the find, Williams had reportedly changed his mind, and the U.S. attorney charged that the fossil had been illegally taken from land under federal administration. Because the deeded land fell within the borders of Native American reservation and the parcel itself was held by the Bureau of Indian Affairs for the benefit of its native landowner. After the auction of Sioux in 1997, which resulted in its sale to the Field Museum, Williams received $7.6 million. This thing fucking stinks, doesn't it, guys? Keith Nelson, the lead investigator of the Internal Revenue Service, said the evidence recovered at the Black Hills Institute was more than could have been investigated, with so many bones, so many animals, so many invertebrates that were taken off of public lands, taken internationally, sold internationally. The Justice Department charged Larson with conspiracy, obstruction of justice, illegal collection of fossils. Interesting. Following a trial on charges unrelated to Sue, Larson was found guilty and convicted of 2 felony counts for United States customs violations involving cash brought from overseas, as well as 2 misdemeanors relating to illegally taking 2 fossils from federal land. Of the 149 charges faced by Larson and other Black Hills associates, the jury acquitted defendants of 73 charges, found them guilty of 8, and did not reach a verdict on 68. He went to federal prison for 2 years. Larson appealed the 8th Circuit Court and was denied. Okay, so that's a little fucking strange, right, guys? So let's look up the other chick involved. People always want to say people want to say I don't look into shit. Look my butt. Okay. Sue Hendrickson. Oh, and she got really famous off of this too. Yeah, right. Okay, Susan Hendrickson, born 1949, is an American explorer and fossil collector. Hendrickson is best known for her discovery of the remains of a T-Rex in South Dakota. It's known as Sue in honor of her. It is on display at the Field Museum in Chicago. So let's just get this right. A dude who was indicted basically by the federal government, as well as Sue Hendrickson, were the 2 people responsible for finding the original T-Rex skeleton. Sue was just, by chance, they stopped and she was just walking around and she looked at the ground or the cliffside and saw some little bones, just so happened to see some little bones sticking out. Just so happened to. This is over twice as complete as any other fossil, T-Rex fossil found ever. Okay? It's out of nowhere. Does that sound fucking weird? That sounds kind of fucking weird, doesn't it? And they were on a Native American reservation at the time too, which is interesting, right? Because nobody can just go on the Indian reservation and start digging, right? I mean, think about that for a second. You can't just go to an Indian reservation. They have their own laws. They're basically outside of the federal government. So it's really convenient that this got discovered there. I'm curious to see if they found any other shit in the area. Okay? It's kind of fucking weird. They ended up on a Indian reservation, and it just smells kind of fucking fishy, dude. If I wanted to basically run a psyop and have it like somebody randomly dig up shit somewhere, I'd probably put it on an Indian reservation, and I would bribe the Indian reservation officials to basically do my bidding, because as you see that they're outside the federal government, because even though they had a deal, it's very Native American of them, they reneged on the deal. Interesting stuff, right? She had also found other important fossils and artifacts around the world. Hendrickson was born in Chicago, Illinois to Lee and Mary Hendrickson. Her family soon moved to nearby Munster, Indiana, where she grew up. Her father was a successful railroad purchasing agent, and her mother worked at American Airlines. Well, railroad purchasing agent, that sounds a little... So her father was rich, worked for the railroad. Let's see her early. Oh no, early life is here. I'm gonna look something up real quick. I'm sure the more you dig, dude, shit just pops up. Sue Hendrickson, early life. Was she Jewish? Oh, okay. Brooklyn born to Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe. Oh, this is by Allison Lawrence. Okay. Let's look at... Okay. Let's see. Oh, okay. Okay. This is what I'm talking about. Okay. This is what I'm talking about when I say that there's two different options. There's natural and there's creationism, naturalism, creationism. And then you even hear this girl writing in this article, if you were to inspect the bread before Mass and then again after the pre-sacred repetition of Christ's declaration, "This is my body," you'd find it in the same physical state. You must take transubstantiation on faith. Transubstantiation on faith. When I learned about how fossils form, how bones become stone, I recognized transubstantiation in its most literal sense. This is a religion to these people. On visits to the Field Museum with my grandma, I wondered at the dinosaurs and other fossilized creatures on display. They were animals once, and here they stood as statues. No holy phrases required for this miracle, just time, sediment, and some favorable circumstances. I didn't think that Sue was the savior, but I did know in my young bones that the museum was a place of worship. This girl's Jewish, by the way. For animal to become mineral, material conditions have to be perfect. It's exceedingly rare for terrestrial life to fossilize. It's a process contingent on so many factors. The production of fossils is perhaps best understood through a theory of prehistorical materialism. Did you laugh? If you didn't, I completely understand. The joke has an audience of one and she's long gone. Okay, may my bad Marxist humor entertain her memory. She's a Marxist, she's Jewish, and she worships fucking fossils. Brooklyn born to Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe, my grandma Lillian weathered a childhood of depression. So, I mean, all of these different ideas are completely intertwined together, dude. And if you guys don't see this, then you're retarded. She lived a secular life, worshiping no gods except curiosity, art, and culture. So do I really need to get into this? You guys can see how this stuff's all intertwined. This was the first article that popped up to become a fossil. So it doesn't look like she was Jewish. And she might not have been, but I have a bias, and I might be a little anti-Semitic, so I'm going to use my confirmation bias and ignore all facts otherwise, and I'm going to say that she probably was or somehow involved. So, career. Just cool. She also met Swiss paleontologist Kirby Seiber, who allowed her to join his team consisting of paleontologists. Let's look at Kirby Seiber. Who the fuck is Kirby Seiber? Swiss paleontologist. So I'm not going to dig into this, but this is usually what I'll do when I dig into stuff. Look at people's, I'll dig into it like this. Anyway, so we're going to keep reading the fucking thing. Right here. Weight, exhibition, new suit. So it doesn't seem like they have any photos, guys. They have no photos of the actual digging up of Sue, which is bullshit. Photos of the digging up of Sue T-Rex. Okay, so she's just looking through the thing, guys, and look, this is what she found. I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to show you guys. She's walking randomly off the trail by happenstance, and she just sees this. Yeah, sounds fucking legitimate, dude. Here you go. Here's that. This checks out. That just seems like fucking bullshit. That's giving this. That's giving these vibes, dude. Right here. This is the photo that people use as that they released back in the day to show that Roswell happened, that it was alien technology. They're like, oh, what did a guy in the military lie about finding aliens? They're like, oh, look, bro, it's fucking tinfoil. How fucking retarded is everybody? These people, these aliens have supposedly mastered interplanetary travel. And they have fucking tinfoil on their fucking aircraft. How retarded are you? And how retarded do they think we are? About as retarded as we are. I think they might even think we're a little less retarded than we really are, because this is the dumbest, fakest, gayest shit I've ever seen in my life. Look at this. Roswell was a complete psyop to make people believe in aliens. If you look at this photo and you think aliens are real, you're a retarded person. Legitimately a retarded person. This guy's showing a fucking piece of tinfoil. I want you guys just to look with your unbiased eyes at what this is. You would think that this is, if nobody told you what this was, what would you say it was? You would say, oh, this is some idiot holding up tinfoil. Nope, this is part of the alien spacecraft that was recovered, guys. Tinfoil, and let's zoom in. Tinfoil and bits of fucking trash. Tinfoil and bits of trash. And then what is that black shit right there? Rubber? Yeah, this is supposed to be evidence. This is like some of their biggest evidence that, like, this is just so fucking stupid, bro. I can't believe we ever bought into this shit, dude. I cannot believe we ever bought into this shit, bro. This is clearly to make money. It's clearly a psyop. If you guys don't believe me that crazy shit happens, look up Operation Cast Eye Bread. Look at this. Operation Cast Eye Bread was a top secret biological warfare operation conducted by the Haganah, the Israeli later the Israeli Defense Forces, that began in April 1948 during the 1948 Palestine War. The Haganah used typhoid bacteria to contaminate drinking water wells in a violation of the 1925 Geneva Protocol. Okay, that's crazy, right? Let's look up the Tuskegee experiment. Let's look that up. The Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis in the Negro male was a study conducted between 1932 and 1972 by the United States Public Health Service and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on a group of nearly 400 African American men with syphilis, as well as a control group without their consent or knowledge. They did this, right? 1 second. Okay. Right here. So the moon landing, this 1 second. No, of course, I'm using Google. So NASA has admitted to using stage footage at certain points. But I'm not going to fucking use Google to look that up. Anyway. So why is Sue so important? We're going to loop back to the fucking dinosaur thing. Okay, so just keep in mind that the government lies to us about shit, even if it's going to kill us, okay? And they don't care. There's also Operation Northwoods. I don't know if some of you guys have heard of Operation Northwoods. I mean, this is like 10-year-old shit. I mean, people have heard about all this stuff, but to people who haven't, Operation Northwoods, I mean, right here. Oh, Operation Northwoods was a proposed false flag operation which originated within the Department of Defense of the U.S. government in 1962. And basically what that was it was a plan proposing the hijacking of planes, bombing of U.S. cities, and sinking refugee boats to justify an invasion of Cuba and overthrow Fidel Castro. The Joint Chiefs of Staff authored the proposal, but President Kennedy rejected it. The Joint Chiefs of Staff authored the proposal. So the Joint Chiefs of Staff of our country at the time proposed it to John F. Kennedy. And John F. Kennedy was assassinated. So imagine a world that we live in now, but just imagine you have a government, the government of a certain people, where the people who work for that government in very high up positions who speak directly to the United States president drafted a plan and proposal, unironically, to hijack planes, bomb U.S. cities, sink refugee boats to justify the invasion of Cuba, a tiny island off the coast of the United States. Now, why wouldn't they just invade it? Well, because they want to manipulate the American people to support them. The point is not the point is manipulation. Okay. Now Hemingway. This is a thing. A lot of people don't know that Hemingway worked for the CIA. In his book, Writer, Sailor, Soldier, Spy, Ernest Hemingway's Secret Adventures, he chronicles Hemingway's suspected espionage work for both Soviet and U.S. intelligence agencies before and during the Cold War. It's not suspected. He was confirmed to work for the CIA. Okay, he was an intelligence operative. And he talked about it. And there's stories of him, people talking about him actually being engaged in field operations with the CIA and wanting to do it. Here's the thing. All of these people who are very rich, at a certain point, money is not very important. What they want is they want to be involved in controlling world affairs. You don't think like everybody else, okay? People want to manipulate other people. It's about control. Okay, you're an average person. You think about going to the store. You think about what your kids are going to be eating for breakfast. You think about when your next paycheck is going to be. These people think about controlling the minds of millions of people to bend to their will. Okay? Completely different playbook here. You're operating on the Goyim playbook. These people are operating on God's chosen people playbook. Remember that. So when you think something is crazy, you need to stop being retarded. Nothing is crazy. There is nothing that's outside of the realm of possibilities. Truth is often stranger than fiction. Edward Bernays. Bernays, right here. Edward Bernays. You guys know who Edward Bernays is? He was Austrian-American, pioneer in the field of public relations and propaganda. So I'm going to stop this right here. The United States never stopped their propaganda. Okay? Propaganda back in the day was just a thing. But in order to demonize the Nazis and the Soviet Union and our enemies, we started adding a negative stigma to the word propaganda. Propaganda just basically meant public relations. That's what it was. Every government had basically a propaganda department. That was part of the government's job, propaganda. It was not a negatively stigmatized word. But what he did, he was the father of public relations. While credited with advancing the profession of public relations, his techniques have been criticized for manipulating public opinion, which is the purpose of propaganda. But he's the father of public relations. So basically all he did was he changed the name from propaganda to public relations. Just like they changed the name of bills, or like justifiable fear to be raped and murdered to xenophobia. Oh, you don't want to get raped and murdered? You're xenophobic. You don't want all these different people coming in and ruining your country? You're xenophobic. They just put titles for things that sound either that are meant to, like, oh, you don't like public relations? What's wrong with public relations? Come on, guys, stop being fucking stupid. The changing of propaganda to public relations was an act of propaganda. So he was the father of public relations. What did this guy do? Anyway, his best-known campaigns include a 1929 effort to promote female smoking by branding cigarettes as feminist, torches of freedom. That's interesting, right? and his work for the United Fruit Company in the 1950s connected with the CIA orchestrated overthrow of the democratically elected Guatemalan government. Okay, so this guy was hired by the government. He coined the term public relations. Okay, and what did he do? He branded cigarettes as feminist, increasing their popularity. He made women smoke more, and he made it empowering to smoke. I wonder how many people that killed. And he worked for the United Fruit Company, connected with the CIA orchestrated overthrow of the democratically elected Guatemalan government in 1954. Okay, this guy worked for the Public Relations Department, and he was connected to the overthrowing of the democratically elected Guatemalan government in 1954. I wonder if he's using those same strategies that he used to overthrow foreign governments in our country. And I wonder if the public affairs division of the government, which he basically created, utilizes any of these strategies. Knowing that Hemingway and other artists, I'm going to show you CIA involved in modern art. So for decades in art circles, it was either a rumor or a joke, but is now confirmed as a fact that the CIA used American modern art, including the works of such artists as Jackson Pollock, Robert Motherwell, as a weapon in the Cold War. Okay, so what they did was they utilized art as a weapon in the Cold War. Now, why the fuck would the United States government be involved in, like, to you that'd be fucking, if I told you that if I didn't show you this, and I just told you, hey, the United States government artificially inflated the value, creating a false consensus that modern art was popular. And they used it to launder money, and they used it to influence the public. You'd be like, well, that's fucking crazy. How can something so small, what are they doing? They obviously must know something that you don't. They obviously know that things like art affect a population. Okay? So this is just showing that they will go to the lengths of influencing fucking art. Nothing is off the table. They influence fucking art, dude, to change the people because it works. So if they're willing to do that, what else are they willing to do? What else do they, if they have their hands in modern art becoming popular, what the fuck do they not have their hands in? What are we not consuming? What TV shows have they not influenced? What types of art, what types of entertainment, what types of education have they not infiltrated or thought, okay, how can we use this to our advantage? They've done that with literally everything in our lives. Everything in our lives that can possibly be influenced by the powers that be are influenced by the powers that be. Everything. And if you don't think so, you're fucking stupid. If you don't think of the scientific establishment, the medical establishment has been infiltrated by the government, you're fucking retarded. The same government that does this. If you don't think the CIA, if you don't think that Mossad is using these things as a weapon against you, you're stupid. You're just dumb. You're uninformed. You're ignorant. Okay, so that's weird. They influenced modern art. They also influenced literature. Hemingway was a CIA agent. What else? And I'm not going to get into every single fucking thing here. Obviously, this is just the tip of the iceberg. You guys already know. Everybody already knows that anytime you see something, it's always just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of things that we don't know about, just like the rape gangs in the UK. They proposed that 250,000 people were affected by first-hand effect, not second or third degree. That's including family, that's including offspring, that's including friends, that's including communities. That's just 250,000 people estimated. And it's also estimated that those crimes were underreported by a factor of 5. So it can be reasonably assumed by extrapolating. See, here I am extrapolating. It's not really a guess, though. It's been proven time and time again. Like, these things have been proven. We'll just say 2 million by a factor of 4. That 2 million people were affected. And you can increase that number substantially every single time as you go into second and third order effects. Anyway, why was I bringing that up? I'm bringing that up because we have a lot of shit going on, okay? And you have to understand that everything is used as a weapon against us, and there is deeply entrenched, there's an ideology that infects the powers that be. And it is not one of, we need to take care of these people, but we need to manipulate them, okay? Anyway, so let's read more about Edward Bernays. Do you know who his uncle was, by the way? Do you know who Edward Bernays' uncle was? That was Freud. And Freudian psychology was adopted by the psychological institutions as a whole and used as a model for treatment and used as a model for all of this. Okay? So you might think it's fucking crazy, but what is the best way to influence societies? It's through worldviews and paradigms, okay? So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Adlerian psychology, but Adlerian psychology, let's look it up, Adler. Adlerian psychology is essentially concerned with understanding the unique and private beliefs and strategies one's life cycle that each individual creates in childhood. This cognitive schema and lifestyle serve as the individual's reference for attitudes, behaviors, and one's private view of self and others. Let's look at this. So Freud, the core of his of everything was that we are motivated by sexual and aggressive urges. But Adler believed that feelings of inferiority in childhood are what drive people to attempt to gain superiority. And this striving is the force behind all of our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. So here's the thing. And also Freud was a massive cocaine addict, and that's absolutely verified. So one is a worldview that everything, you have to understand that the roots of everything will influence the downstream effects of everything. So if you start your base of understanding the world through sex and aggressive urges, everything is going to be infected with that. And you can probably guess that the fruits of it are going to be depraved. Okay? And then Adler believed more along the lines of right here. So we'll look at the differences here. And I know I'm kind of hopping all over the place, right? I was on Bernays, but that's important. Okay? Bernays was involved in changing public opinion and using it to overthrow governments and increase government control. Basically, he was selling a product, and it was the control of the people. People don't just get in these government jobs. How the fuck? The fact that Freud was his uncle is not an insignificant thing. You guys have to be able to see this. You guys have to be able to understand that. It is not a coincidence. So they've infiltrated psychology, right? They've infiltrated everything. And that was Freud's thing too. Who do you think Freud learned a lot of this shit from? Edward Bernays. Bernays believed that you can control, that you have all of these different surfaces of contact with the people. And if you can influence all of those different surfaces of contact, you can reasonably influence their behavior. He didn't believe that if you can, if you can't make a horse drink, you can make a horse drink. If I starved a horse for 6 days, and I didn't let it drink water for 6 days, I can promise you 100% it's going to drink when I bring it to water. Anyway, so Freud believed that personality had three parts: the id, ego, and superego, in constant conflict. Chaos. That is the Jewish mind, a neurotic mind. So he is starting from a presupposition that everybody is hypersexual, very basically sexual and based. Not based in a good way, but they're very base. Adler believed personality is an integrated whole, driven by a need to overcome inferiority and strive for superiority. As much like Nietzsche's will to power. Development. For Freud, development is largely completely early in life and driven by how the child navigates innate drives and family dynamics, i.e., the Oedipus complex, the desire to fuck your mother. And then Adler, no rigid stages, emphasizes early social environment and family influences, pampering, neglect, birth order on personality. That sounds like it makes a little bit more fucking sense, right? That's a little bit more, no rigid stages. Like it's all about social environment, your family influences, how much you were neglected. And then you have Freud, who's like, nah, everybody just wants to fuck their mom, bro. And that influences all of it. Therapy. The therapy differences. Let's see the difference here. Freud, psychoanalysis, lengthy, insight-oriented therapy to uncover unconscious conflicts from the past. Uses techniques like free association and dream analysis to explore repressed memories and emotions. So all of the problems from his paradigm is basically, you're really fucked up. Let's try to see what you have repressed. And just seeing that and not diving too far into it, I can imagine how this would create an environment conducive to people fabricating things, creating false memories. I was molested. I'm like this because I was molested. And you see this throughout society. You see this especially in women. They all think, like, you'll talk to a girl like, I can't remember a lot of my childhood. Like, every girl thinks that they were molested, even if they weren't. And that goes the whole satanic panic thing, which I believe actually happened. But this is an environment, just people just want to focus on, what am I repressing? What so horrible happened to me that I'm repressing it? Can you guys understand what I'm saying? Can you understand how this might create more issues? It might create issues. They might be trying to find things that you've repressed and conflicts you've had from the past that never existed. Whereas Adler talked about shorter goal-directed counseling focusing on present behavior and conscious thought patterns. Think about this for a fucking second, guys, okay? Anybody watching this, he went through 2 stages. One of them was the result of society telling you that you must have trauma. And you're sitting here trying to figure out why you're so fucked up, and you focus on your childhood trauma. And if you become a man and you grow past this, what happens next? You grow out of that mindset, because that's the victim mindset, right? And then what does your mind transfer over to? You're listening to me, right? You're agreeing with me, right? What does it transfer over to? Shorter, goal-directed. Focusing on what I'm doing now. And what am I thinking now? How do I change my thoughts? Because then you realize that your thoughts create habits. Your habits create, basically who you are. You are your habits. And then you realize that you can't intellectualize yourself out of your issues. Sitting here and trying to remember if I got molested or not is not going to make me not insecure. I need to do things right now that are going to make me insecure. I am the product of my current behavior, not my past, right? Though the past may influence your current behavior, if you're focusing on the past, right? If you're just focusing on that the entire time, where are you stuck? You're stuck in that fucking victim mindset. And you see this all the time, don't you? Yes, you do. Shorter, goal-directed counseling focusing on present behavior, conscious thought patterns, emphasizes encouragement and building social interest to overcome feelings of inferiority. If you're insecure with women, what do you go do? Exposure therapy, get rejected a bunch, get some bitches, right? That sounds fucking reasonable. That Adlerian psychology is what many of us, without knowing that it is Adlerian psychology, any of us who figured our shit out to some degree and have some sort of wisdom, what have we done? We've adopted that. But it took us a long time. It took us sometimes into our 30s, 40s, and 50s. But if we would have known that earlier in life and taught that and started our life from that paradigm, what would have happened? If we were taught this type of psychology in school besides Freudian psychology, which is, hey, you're really fucked up, and all of these women don't have really the ability later on in life to they're basically completely a product of their environment. So they don't change from that high school indoctrination, that college indoctrination that just becomes who they are. Okay? So you see all of these women, and what is all around the world? Everyone just talks about how they were abused, their trauma, and all this kind of stuff, because they've started from a Freudian paradigm. Whereas if they started from Adlerian paradigm, which is the paradigm that you and me right here, many of us have adopted, because that Freudian paradigm, all it did was leave us in perpetual pain and discomfort and insecurity, right? Okay, move on. Social influences. Individual psychology is mainly intrapsychic. That's what Freud believed. Social factors are secondary. Society is internalized. I'm going to stop you right there. So this is the whole rigorous individualism, right? This is destroying society from the individual level. This is the whole Ayn Rand fucking philosophy. Rugged individualism, absolute individualism. Everything's about you. There is no you apart from society. You belong in a society. You exist in a society. You exist in groups. People say groups don't actually exist. The only thing that really exists is the individual. But that's not true whatsoever, because the family unit is a unit. There are no units other than the individual unit. That's what she believes. That's what Freud kind of is emphasizing. It was a multiple-pronged attack. You have all these different influences that slowly degrade and destroy our paradigm and force us to adopt and fall into this paradigm, which is me, 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 me. It's not about the society. It's all about me. We're insignificant, bro. All of this shit, the nuclear family. There's people much smarter than you and I who are orchestrating this stuff. And nobody has to sit there and be like, do this, do this, do this. Because when you start from a paradigm and you start from a specific goal, which is to erode people, to erode a civilization, other things follow. You don't have to plan everything down the line. You just have to start at certain presuppositions. And then everything else down the line eventually infects itself, eventually produces bad fruit. You can just set the ball rolling, which is what all this stuff was in the early 1900s. This Freudian psychology, space, dinosaurs. And they invested heavily into this, and they pushed this heavily in the schools, on television, immigration, women's rights, all of these different things. And people say, oh, I don't agree with everything you just said. Sure, don't agree with everything I just said, but are you going to discount the things I'm saying now because you don't agree with certain things? You don't have to agree with everything I say to see that the core of what I'm saying is true. All right. So society is internalized as the superego, but biological drive. See, this just sounds, libido and aggression are primary motivators. This just sounds fucking stupid and convoluted and Jewish, bro. I mean, individual psychology is like, this is like when you go to a fucking college class and there's this stupid fucking dweeb with no muscle on his body who's just a weirdo trying to sound smart. Instead of picking the most, Occam's razor, the most simple fucking solution, he's like, actually, I need to make it long and convoluted because I want to be fucking smart. It's like, bro, shut the fuck up, nerd. Individual psychology is mainly intrapsychic. Social factors are secondary. Society is internalized as the superego. Psychology is stupid, fake, and gay. Listen to that sentence right there. And then people will be like, oh, you're just not smart enough to... No, okay, I'm smart enough to see that you're full of shit. But it's like, oh, shut up, bro. If this paradigm worked, if this paradigm was effective and wasn't born of bad fruit, we would not be seeing society crumbling as it has. We would not be seeing the people who adopt this to be as fucked up as they are. Simple. But what happens when you adopt an Adlerian viewpoint, an Adlerian paradigm? What happens if you adopt that base? You figure your shit out. You stop feeling bad about yourself. You start seeing how you are in reference to a society. You stop thinking about yourself so fucking much, right? You stop thinking about all your problems so much fucking, right? Freudian psychology, all it does is keep you in the same vicious cycle of selfishness. That's all it does. And it talks about your libido. Oh, the society is your libido, your boner. It's like, dude, or your sexual energy. It's like, dude, these people they should not go to prison. There's another place that they should go because they've done untold damage to us. Adlerian psychology, the opposite. Social context is fundamental. It almost seems like that all is better for a society. One seems like it's bad for a society and bad for the individual, almost satanic. And the other seems like it is not selfish and taking other people into consideration. Do you guys see the fucking difference here? There was two different people that we had, the two different people whose philosophies we could have adopted. And we chose to adopt the one that was bad for us on purpose. And one of them was Jewish and the other one wasn't. How strange. And Ayn Rand is also Jewish. How strange. Humans have an innate potential for social interest, community feeling that must be nurtured, which is true. See, this is 100% objectively true and can be tested. And this wouldn't require whole departments, whole useless degrees and specializations and jobs to justify its existence, because these things are apparently true. That social context to an individual is important. When you're insecure, you're not insecure in a vacuum. You're insecure about what other people think of you. When you want to be effective, you're not effective in a vacuum. You're effective as a man as it relates to society. your place in it and how well you can navigate it, how powerful you are to gain agency in that society. We are not separate from society. We are a part of it, whether we like it or not. That is just true. One destroys society, Freud does. The other, Adler, makes a person. And the thing is, the school system has had, like, who the fuck chose that, right? You guys know fucking Maxwell. You know who Robert Maxwell is? Okay, you know who Robert Maxwell is? That was media proprietor and former member of parliament in the United Kingdom. He was part of the Maxwell, or the British Printing Corporation, Mirror Group Newspapers, and Macmillan Inc. You know who Macmillan Inc. was? And do you know who this was? Ghislaine Maxwell, the partner of Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. That was, they worked together. You guys know Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, right? Okay. Well, who the fuck owns all of the books of the printing companies for Macmillan? The Macmillan fucking printing house, homie. Okay. Macmillan Inc., also known as Macmillan US, and formerly the Macmillan Company, was an American book publishing company originally established as the American division of the British Macmillan Publishers. The two were later separated and acquired by other companies, with the remnants of the original American division of Macmillan present in McGraw-Hill. Okay. McGraw-Hill. You guys have seen those textbooks in your elementary school, right? That's fucking interesting. And they were both owned by... both companies were owned by Paramount Communications. So we have, okay, guys, this is fucking interesting, right? You have Paramount. These things are connected, and this is obviously just the tip of the iceberg. Paramount. You have Macmillan, also McGraw-Hill. You have, and if you think this is the only companies, you're tripping, homie. You have the biggest creator of school textbooks. You have the biggest multimedia company. Both involved somehow down the line with the families and the people that were involved in that are tied to Mossad, Israeli secret intelligence. I mean, you guys, do I have to lay out the whole fucking web here? I mean, there's enough points of contact here where it gets a little bit suspicious. It's like, man, if they've infiltrated that out, like, why are these connected? Why are they connected? Why is this? It's almost as if there's a conspiracy against us. It's almost as if Edward Bernays, who termed public relations and overthrew governments, it's almost like he outlined how skilled practitioners could use crowd psychology and psychoanalysis to control them in desired ways. And who coined fucking psychoanalysis, guys? Let's zoom. Do you see this right here? Who coined that term? That term was coined by Freud, by Sigmund Freud. It takes into account Darwin's theory of evolution. Okay, so we have, and I didn't even know that, okay? But we have, and I'm telling you that this is all a massive ploy to make people not believe in God and to destroy the social fabric. We have Sigmund Freud. Everybody wants to fuck their mom. Everybody's a victim. Coining the term psychoanalysis, which was a tool that Edward Bernays said you could use to control people. That's fucking interesting. That's an interesting connection there, guys, don't you think? To control them in desired ways. It's almost like they're using psychology, the modern establishment of psychology, to control people. And also the modern therapeutic method, which is basically to keep people in their fucking problems, to think that their childhoods were bad. And what happens if you get people focusing on how bad their childhoods are, and if you get people to believe that, you know, that they're not a part of a society? What gets people to believe that? What happens if you get people to believe all of these fucking things, dude? I mean, do you not see the connections here? That you are an individual unit, okay? that society is basically just your sexuality is a manifestation of society. All of these issues that you're having are sexual in nature, and they're because of some repressed childhood trauma that you have. That giving people, creating problems that don't exist, and then being the one to provide the tools for those problems that don't exist. All this institution was done was to create a sick, mentally and physically sick population. People who believe that they're so fucked up. People who believe that their childhoods were bad. And what do you believe? And people who don't cooperate or who don't operate effectively in a social setting, who were told things that make them behave antisocially, who this whole modern institution of psychology, all it does is create all of these different problems. And then how do they fix it? With medications. Hey, you have all these problems, by the way. Hey, instead of actually giving the people the tools to fix their shit, I'm going to make them more fucked up, and then I'm going to put them on drugs. Okay? That's what they do. And that's how you would control society, and that's what they're doing to us. They fuck up our paradigm, make us neurotic, make us mentally ill from birth, basically. And also what happens what is the result of believing that your childhood's fucked up? It drives the family apart. You start blaming everybody but yourself. It creates all of these different neurotic, mentally ill units, these different neurotic, mentally ill components that are not cohesive in a society. That all they do is think about themselves and think about their issues, and drives them further away from their family. It drives them further away from society. It gets them hooked on drugs. It gets people to even self-medicate for problems that they don't really have. That if they just focused on behaviors, if they just focused on how they relate to society, if you gave people the right tools, they wouldn't be so fucked up. So why would you give them the right tools if you want to control them? It's easy, like we've all been with, okay, I'm just going to be honest right here. There was a time sometimes it's nice being with a girl who's totally psychotic because it's easy to control her a little bit. I'm not saying I've done this or do this. I'm just saying this is a fact. A girl who's a little crazy, sometimes it might be easier to gaslight her or to control her. You know what I mean? If you're a manipulative piece of shit, and I haven't been the best guy in the past, okay, I'm going to be quite honest. But you can use people's problems against them to control them. Okay? Duh, right? Why do you think that Charles Manson and all of these different cult leaders, they target people with specific issues? It's because you can prey on those issues to control them. How great would it be if you had a recipe for creating issues that you could then control people with? And you completely took away not just the tools, but the existence of those tools in their paradigm. Like, these people don't even know that the solution to their problem exists. If you talk to these women, if you talk to these people, they think that they're going to be fucked up forever because their childhood was fucked up. And because they're constantly trying to fix their issues with tools that don't work. And thought patterns that just create new issues. Come on, guys. Listen to what I'm saying. Bernays was named one of the 100 most influential Americans of the 20th century by Life. So here's the thing is, I'm reading this and I'm seeing this as a damning, like a condemnation of this guy. But people will read this and see this as a positive thing. I mean, how can you read this and not see that this is a bad thing? How can you not see this guy's life and his accomplishments and see this as a damning admittance of problems in our country? How can you see this and not see that this is an issue? Well, if you're Jewish, you're not going to. Bernays was named, his work has been linked to the rise of modern propaganda techniques that some argue have eroded democratic engagement and suppressed dissent. He was the subject of a full-length biography by Larry Tye entitled The Father of Spin. The Father of Spin. You know, that whole, that was the beginnings of like the liberation movement, girls wearing less, more skimpy stuff. And I've said this for a long time, and now I have the receipts, okay, about how Jewish people have infiltrated, and this is just by a couple mechanisms, to erode the women of our country, just as Satan tempted Eve. They do the same thing with our women. They're like, hey, you should basically be bitches. Hey, smoke cigarettes. Hey, dress sluttier. And what do? They put all of that in makeup and they put it in a disguise of empowerment. I mean, it's fucking insane. I'm gonna move on from this topic because I could talk about this literally forever, about how women look at life through a lens of social acceptance, and they don't see things that they can't differentiate between like a TV show and real life because they're programmable, much easier to program. Okay, so like they'll see on the TV that it's empowering, and then they'll just believe it's empowering because they think other people believe stuff's empowering. So they actually won't use their brain to think things through, generally. Family and education. He was born to a Vienna Jewish family. Interesting. That's fucking interesting. His mother, Anna, was Sigmund Freud's sister. Yeah, okay. And his father was the brother of Freud's wife, Martha Bernays. Their grandfather, Isaac Bernays, through their father, Berman, was the chief rabbi of Hamburg and a relative of the poet Heinrich Heine. He was a poet. He was a German poet. Yeah, he was a German poet. No, he was a Jewish poet. Writer and literary critic. He's best known outside Germany for his early lyric poetry, which was set to music in the form of lieder by composers such as Felix Schumann and Schubert. Oh, that makes me not like Schubert and Schumann as much. That their music's not as good as Mozart or any of them anyway. Medical editor, press agent, World War I. He was involved in World War I, Council on Public Relations from 19 to 1963. You know, the whole sexual liberation movement. It's almost like in the 1960s, a massive Pandora's box was opened. In the 1960s, that's when the whole like free sex shit fucking came out. And then MK Ultra started introducing LSD into the public. It's almost like a small group of people are fucking orchestrating all of this shit. He had very pronounced views on the differences between what he did and what people in advertising did. A pivotal figure in the orchestration of elaborate corporate advertising campaigns and multimedia consumer spectacles. He is among those listed in the acknowledgments section of the seminal government social science study, Recent Social Trends in the United States. Almost like social trends are manufactured and orchestrated by people who fucking hate us and want to see us die. Political clients. Calvin Coolidge, a president. Raymond Hitchcock, the Dolly sisters. New York Times. Herbert Hoover. Remember Hoovervilles? You know, the whole fucking Hooverville thing? Let's look up what a Hooverville is. You guys know what Hooverville is? Hooverville is a shanty town built by unemployed and destitute people during the Depression of the early 1930s. Interesting. Hoover had Bernays. He came to him desperate to get elected. And guess what? Hoover, which just seems like one of the first presidents, he ended up creating the fucking Depression. Okay, that's weird. Huh, okay. There's just so many weird connections here, guys. So many weird fucking connections. Okay. Bernays advised William O'Dwyer in his candidacy for mayor of New York City on how to appear in front of different demographics. Okay, that's fucking weird. For example, he should tell Irish voters about his actions against the Italian mafia and Italian voters about his plans to reform the police department. This was 100 years ago almost. I wonder if this is still going on now. I wonder if the same shitty people with bad intentions are doing this stuff now, guys. That's crazy. To Jews, he should appear as a committed opponent of the Nazis. Yeah, okay. Yeah. He helped name the president's emergency committee for employment, suggesting this name as preferable to the committee for unemployment. They are in everything. Everything is designed to fuck with our heads. Everything is designed. Nothing is by accident. During World War II, these people put so much thought into everything, guys. Like I said, it's not like we don't think like each other. Everything is marketing to them. Everything is manipulation to them. That's what it is. Everything is manipulation to them, to the design of a penny, to the name of these government institutions, to what they teach in school, to the clothes that we wear, to social trends, to how money is valued at and how it's perceived and who controls it. I mean, everything is fucking. So if all of these things, do you not think that they have infiltrated or have a hand And aliens, the idea of aliens in science fiction, in modern movies, in dinosaurs, you don't think that they have a hand in those things. They have a hand in literally everything else. They have a hand in literally everything else. Literally. In modern art. They have a hand in all of these things. But they don't, but bro, they don't, but aliens are totally real. I'm going to trust what they say about aliens, bro. I'm going to trust what they say about dinosaurs, bro. Bro, they literally paid to make modern art seem more popular, something so seemingly insignificant. You don't think that they would pay an influence to make dinosaurs seem more popular, to make Darwinism seem more popular? Freud used Darwinism as a way, he referenced Darwinism as a way to fucking manipulate people. And that form of psychology clearly doesn't work. It makes people think it works, but it clearly doesn't, or else people wouldn't be so fucked up. And just as I said before, we all know when we switch to a more Adlerian psychology worldview and we allowed that to permeate our thoughts and our actions, we ended up getting out of the slump we were in. We changed as men and we became more manly. We stopped being so fucked up because we decided not to be. Because you focus on all your fucking issues all the time, what's going to happen? You're going to have more fucking issues, bro. Okay, Freud. In 1920, Bernays organized the publication of Freud's introductory... I'm going to read this slow. In 1920, Bernays organized... So Bernays was involved in psychology as well. The same man who... we just read about the guy. He was involved in the publication of Freud's material and it getting adopted by... and getting turned into what it is now, getting adopted by such large groups of people. Everything he was involved in was about manipulation, was about marketing, was about getting presidents elected. Everything behind it had an agenda. So you're telling me that he was involved in every single other thing he was involved in. It had an agenda and was about changing the public's perception and manipulating the public, even if it is just marketing. And would you tell me that him being involved in the adoption of Freud's shit, you don't think that that had an agenda behind it, guys? Okay. Introductory lectures on psychoanalysis in the US. So psychoanalysis itself was born from two men who were Jewish, one man in particular whose job it was to control and manipulate the public. Literally, that was his job. And look at his list of accomplishments. He got women to smoke cigarettes. He started getting women to dress sluttier. He overthrew governments. He got Hoover elected, who also started the Depression. This is his resume. These are his greatest works. And then what else was he involved in? All of those were bad things, but this is a good thing, right? All of those things were started out from bad intentions, but this wasn't. So I didn't even know it was this bad. Sending royalty money to his uncle in Vienna. Freud turned down further offers at promotion, such as possible lecture tour and an invitation to write 3,000-word newspaper columns for $1,000 each on topics such as the wife's mental place in the home and what a child thinks about. Okay. So the wife's mental place in the home. Let's look at the topics that he was talking about. Topics that he wasn't writing books about how to deal with, like how this. His earliest books were clearly subversive and they were directed toward women. The wife's mental place in the home. A wife is going to read this and it's going to ruin their fucking relationship. You already know. It's going to get all these weird ideas in her fucking head. And what a child thinks about. I'm going to fucking look up his books. Okay. I don't care how long this stream is, bro. I'm actually interested in this shit. Let's look up these books. Okay. Let's ask Claude. Actually, I'm not going to type in Claude. Okay. Right here. The Mother's Little Helper. So this is by Jonathan Metzl, Mother's Little Helper, The Crisis of Psychoanalysis and the Milltown Resolution, Gender and History. In the 1960s and 70s, psychopharmacological medications seemed to burst onto the American scene. Okay. In the 1960s and 70s, a lot of medications were getting prescribed, which is very interesting because it seems like that was when the social fabric kind of started to blow up, right? Popularized and problematized in the notion that these drugs were mother's little helpers. The pills became known as the treatments of choice for the pressures of motherhood. So you have this guy say you have all these fucking issues, developed psychoanalysis, and started getting what? Women on drugs. Because it was through the Freudian psychoanalysis that these drugs were prescribed. That is the modern format for drug prescription, was developed as a result in conjunction with Freudian psychoanalysis. They go hand in hand. And who did they initially target first? Well, it seems like women. It seems like they targeted women first. Created all of these fucking problems. And then downstream, who's that going to affect? That's going to affect men. That's going to affect children. I mean, everybody has a hypochondriac mother. And in that appropriate situation, what do? Take her fucking phone away and tell her to stop being fucking crazy. But nope, that's not what they did. They said, here's this book that says that you're crazy. Look, it's going to agree with you and say that you're fucked up because of this. And that, you know, it's going to validate all your problems and turn you into a victim, which feels really good. The pills became known as the treatments of choice for the pressures of motherhood, singlehood, and other historically specific forms of essentialized womanhood. Doctor, please some more of these, sang the Rolling Stones in the song Mother's Little Helper. Jacqueline Susan suggested that psychopharmaceuticals were a woman's best friend when it came to dealing with the pressures of working in a man's world. Feminism. They're using all of these different, in a way, dog whistles or these different platitudes to get people to fuck their lives up. It's men's fault. Look how men are so terrible. Your life is so terrible. Your childhood was so terrible. Motherhood is so hard. Take all these drugs. And you see this. That's why boomers were so shitty, dude. That's why boomers were so shitty. Because this is when they were graduating high school, is when all this stuff happened. And guess what? They grew up getting taught Freud. They were like the first generation to get taught all of this stuff from Freud. They were the first generation to start getting talked to about aliens. The first generation to experiment with, hard recreational drugs. Rock music. And you see this in who they are. Selfish as fuck. Boomers are selfish and retarded and easily manipulated because they've been getting manipulated hard as fuck since they were little kids. Valium, addictions, nearly all of the research supporting the notion that psychopharmacological medications were overprescribed to mothers was conducted during the benzodiazepine craze between 1965 and 1979. I wonder what the effect of these kids were. Well, they're the generation after the boomers. It's almost like our country really started getting fucked up after World War II. And that is the case because that was the result of a few decades of indoctrination and manipulation. It is wholly understandable then that many social scientists, cultural critics, and historians of medicine assumes mother's little helpers to be a 1960s and 70s phenomenon, even though it's not. You guys see it now. For example, Ruth Cooperstock's studies of medical communication link the propensity for women to be far more likely than men to describe their problems in psychological or social terms. Yeah. As I just fucking said, right? It's almost like I don't even have to read this. It's almost like somebody who's not retarded can just understand these things. But they just said it. Women are a lot more likely to invent issues, basically, and to say that their problems are psychological. And so what does Freud do? He directs his initial books to women and to children. This is what your kid thinks. And now all your kids have Munchausen syndrome because your mom's a psycho bitch who thinks she has all these fucking issues. And now you have all these issues. And now your mom is creating all these fucking problems and creating fucked up kids. Okay? And now the husband's at work for fucking 8 to 12 hours a day taking care of everything. And he comes home and his wife's been fucking reading these damn fucking books. And she's like, I think our son is fucking gay. I think our son has fucking fibromyalgia. I think our son has all of these issues. And the husband's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Whatever, honey. This is all blah, blah, blah. And he's just like, whatever, honey. Meanwhile, the husband's at work and the mother is fucking through Freud and all of this gay shit, having all these problems. And then she's getting told that it is hard to be in a man's world. So what does that do? All these different books that they're fucking reading under the guise of some fucking medical text, and this appeal to authorities making her be like, oh, but the experts said it. Well, these experts are Jews and they hate you and they want to see you die. And the whole field that they're studying is a fake and it's fabricated. It's not really a real science. It's a tool of your own demise, wearing the suit, wearing the disguise of a science, people. And so it's just so fucking funny, dude. Anyone who's not a goddamn retard can see what's happening. And these women were more likely than men to describe their problems in a psychological or social terms, and thus more frequently diagnosed with psychoneurosis, anxiety, and other mental instabilities, and thus also thus prescribed more medications, right? Because they have all these problems that weren't there before Freud told them that they had them. But people might say, oh, but no, that is just the case. Oh, no, it's just now people have knowledge. Now people are just more aware. It's like, yeah, they weren't killing themselves more because if this psychoanalysis and these medications were actually meant to help you, that's what they would be doing. And suicide rates wouldn't be going up. Unhappiness wouldn't be going up. Poverty wouldn't have gone up. All of these different factors that are responsible for creating the picture of if a society is happy or not, or if an individual is happy or not, all of these different factors wouldn't have started pointing toward people being more unhappy. And that's happened through time. And it's not like women have gotten more oppressed over time, even though some people may say that. You're telling me that women are unhappier now than they were when they had less freedom? Because this shit works? That makes total sense, guys. It's because men are terrible and oppressive, even though you have more freedom now than you've ever had, especially over men. Oh, it's because of men, though, that we're unhappy because of men. But it's this circular argument that makes no fucking sense and requires loads and loads of deep-rooted cognitive dissonance, which starts at birth because of Freud. Let's see. Elliot Wallenstein, Jew, similarly locates the problem in the 1970s, arguing that there is no doubt, as in the Rolling Stones song "Mother's Little Helper," far too many women had the habit of running for the shelter of the pill that would help them get through their day because they're weak. And Mickey Smith's analysis of pharmaceutical trends begins in the mid-1960s because, according to Smith, little data exists supporting the argument that tranquilizers and other anxiolytics were overprescribed to women in the 1950s, in the way of outcome studies, cost-benefit analysis, or other means by which gender imbalanced prescription patterns would later be assessed. Emphasis on the Valium craze of the 70s. Okay, Valium, you guys know what Valium is, right? That shit's powerful as hell. It's a powerful benzo. I'm going to go take a piss, or should I piss in this gallon jug on the stream? Okay, we have 7 watchers. That's awesome. Hell yeah, that's so many. Okay. Oh, I got a lot of comments, though. Okay, it's just a lot of conversations. I'm gonna go through the conversations real quick. Looks like you guys have been having a lot of fucking conversations in here. So, sweet. Well, glad you guys are engaging in the conversations. Keep it up. I'm gonna go take a piss real quick. I'll be right back. Oh shit, I think you guys might be able to hear me piss because I have my mic on. Well, enjoy. Oh god, this just feels so fucking good, dude. So anybody out there who might not believe my story about pissing a whole gallon, obviously was proven wrong, because that was at least a fucking gallon. So I'm gonna grab some fucking snacks too, dude, because I'm so hungry. 1 second, everybody. This is when I need a fucking slave. Where's a slave where you need one, dude? When you need one. So, yeah, you guys heard all that, I think. Strong piss. Yeah, that was... Okay, so... Bro. That was a fucking good piss, homie. That was such a good piss, bro. Honestly, top 10 pisses. Top 10 pisses of my life. That was much needed. So I'm going to eat some burnt pizza. Look at this fucking, guys. Look at that fucking burnt ass pizza. Cauliflower pizza. So, anyway. Let's just say that this has been a long stream. And I'm probably going to keep it going anyway, because fucking why not, dude? That these people have fucking done everything in their power to fucking infiltrate us and ruin our fucking lives, dude. So I'm going to read some of the comments here. Jews will tell you that the religion is the oldest. That's false. Zoroastrianism is the oldest monotheistic religion. And also a lot of the religion is not it's the Talmudic, kind of what it is now, Jewish mysticism. Let's see. It starts from the Kabbalah. That's what it is derived from. The Kabbalah, right here. And so, which the word wasn't even really used until 1850. I'm guessing a lot of these texts were starting to get my fucking brain. They were starting to get translated at that time. So that's the English translation. That's a Kabbalah start. Let's see. Kabbalah, or Kabbalah, emerged as basically Jewish mysticism. So, originally developed transmissions of the primary text of Kabbalah within the realm of Jewish tradition, and often used classical Jewish scriptures to explain and demonstrate its mystical teachings. Kabbalists hold these teachings to define the inner meaning of the word of both the Hebrew Bible and rabbinic literature. And it emerged from the earlier forms of Jewish mysticism in the 12th to 13th century. Fuck. So, right there. Let's see where the fuck Languedoc is. I bet it's somewhere in Eastern Europe or somewhere around that area. Okay, yeah, that's in France. So, Jewish mysticism kind of started in Europe, and that's why you see the Ashkenazi Jews. European Jews be usually the most fucked up ones who want to see everybody die, because a lot of stuff originates from Kabbalistic Judaism, which originated in the 12th or 13th century. This is not old. They say, oh, it's the oldest. It's like, yeah, but Jewish mysticism as it is today is only about 1,000 years old. And they don't even practice original Judaism, because the Talmud, let's look at the Talmud, guys. The Talmud it's been around for a long time, but Talmudic tradition emerged and was compiled between the destruction of the Second Temple in 70 CE and the Arab conquest in the early 7th century. So around the same time that Islam, because we'll cut that in half, Islam was around 300 AD, 360 AD. So around the same time that Islam saw its roots, you also have the development of Talmudic Judaism. And Talmudic Judaism isn't Judaism. It is something else entirely. That's like saying Mormons or Christians, right? So it is Judaism. Okay, we'll obviously give it that. I'm not going to get too much in the weeds, but when people say, you know, oh, it's this or that, it's like, well, actually, what you guys, Judaism as it is now, is actually a relatively recent creation. So, because there's a lot of mysticism in there, they use the Talmud. So it's not the oldest religion. You have Judaism, and then when Jesus died, you know that whole meme of Pink Floyd, right here, right there. You see that little triangle right here? It's like you see Jesus and old followers, blah blah blah. You see, and then you see this is Jesus dying, and this is gay. This is modern Judaism. This is gay. This is what happened afterwards. Okay, Judaism as it was completely ceased to exist, and then it basically became completely satanic and the worship of the devil, the opposite of Christ, because Judaism became a reaction to Christ, and then everything else that happened beforehand was put through this filter of Jesus Christ is not our Messiah. You know, all of this stuff put through this lens of Jesus, and then on the other end was a reaction purely to Jesus and Christianity, and it was born from hatred. Oh, so there's that, and there you go. So I'm right about everything I say, and if people don't believe me, just Google it, homie. Okay, Google it, and then it turns out I'm literally right about everything I say in life, just about. So basically, modern psychology, all of this stuff. I would highly recommend you guys looking into Adlerian psychology. There's a really good book called "The Courage to be Disliked." To be disliked. So right here is by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. It is a best-selling book that uses a dialogue between a philosopher and a young man to explain the principles of Alfred Adler's psychology, offering a path to happiness by freeing oneself from past trauma, societal expectations, and the need for approval. Best book I've ever read in my life. One of the, I'd say, top 3 best books I've ever read in my life. If you guys haven't read this book, I would highly recommend it. It dives into Adler, and it's great. Honestly, one of the best books I've ever read. I'm surprised I don't recommend it more. I keep forgetting. But so, unless you guys are gay, get this book on Audible and start listening to it. Amazing book. Freedom from the past, separation of tasks, interpersonal relationship, contribution, all things that have been shown to work, like in 12-step programs. Actionable things that take the real world into account. Just so silly. Freudian psychology is so silly. That guy's not smart. He's a fucking idiot. I'm smarter than him. And anyone who believes in dinosaurs or aliens. So, holy fuck, that piece is hard as shit, dude. If I'm on any peptides, so I'm on BPC 157, or I was, but the business, nothing started yet, bro. I'm still waiting on all my businesses. Still waiting on all of it to get started up. It's really hard to find reliable people. So that's where that's at. But, yeah, bro, that was a really good piss. I'm going to bring up how good my piss was a few minutes ago and just talk about it. It was a really good piss. I felt like I was coming the entire time I was pissing, and that's what America was built on. So basically, I'm gonna recalibrate. But the Jews' psychology through Freud, public relations through Edward Bernays, Hoover, the 1960s and the sexual revolution, the women's rights movement, the civil rights movement, all of them were orchestrated by the same group of people, and they all have the same hands in everything, and textbooks, as well as textbooks and education, all orchestrated by the same exact people. And you guys know who those people are. It's not every Jew, but they're all Jews. Most of them are, but they're all part of the same Kabbalistic, the same white hating and society destroying entity. And they all start with the paradigm. Like I said, you don't have to control everything down the line, but if everything starts out with a certain worldview, you can reasonably expect everything down the line to be a result of that. And this is why sometimes it's really hard for people to comprehend, like, this global conspiracy. Like, bro, that's when you talk to people and they're like, you say all these different things, like education, everything I just listed, they think, bro, like, that's just crazy. You think these people are omnipotent. It's like, no, okay. Because all of these people are instruments of a worldview. They are all working on behalf of certain ideas. They're all working on behalf of certain goals. So it doesn't matter. They don't all, like, one person doesn't have to be sitting there and being like, do this, do this, do this. Okay, when your entire society, when everything you're taught, everything you watch, all of these things are ran by people, or are all stem from the same paradigm, all stem from certain people with the same worldview and the same goals, they don't have to communicate. So if you were in the military, there's this thing called commander's intent. So what that is what it sounds like. What is the intent of my commander? And what this does is to promote, foster, create a group of leaders and soldiers or Marines who don't need constant direction and orders. Because if you all understand the intent of the commander, you can make your actions based on that intent, and you don't need to be micromanaged. It is the same thing with this. It is the same thing with how they are making contact, or they are doing so many things at one time, and they are controlling us through so many different measures, and so many different parts of our life are being used as a tool for this worldview. Because all you have to do is teach people to think a certain way. All you have to do is put people who think a certain way in positions of power, and have them work a lot. Okay? Because everything that they set up, every person that they hire, everything that they create, every policy that they establish, all of these different things are all going to be a result of, and therefore a proliferator of, this worldview. It's really not that fucking complicated, but people overcomplicate it. What I just said makes sense. And it's true. So, you have, let's go into one more thing about that, guys. We're going to branch off into another topic, and I'll probably stop here in the next hour. The rape gangs, okay? The rape gangs in fucking in Britain. You guys know all about this, right? You guys know about that page, that whole document that was released by the MP of Britain, documenting this horrible systemic, cultural, and religious phenomenon that is the rape of British women and these grooming gangs. Well, let's take a look at it on Twitter real quick, and then I'll kind of get into why this is happening. You have Mehdi Hassan, who is a fucking definitely not a white person. We'll just say that he's not a white guy. Okay, and this is one thing. This is one reason why they bring in so many Muslims into countries, because they use Islam as a control mechanism. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the clergy plan, which is actually a real thing. The clergy plan, sometimes called the is a far-right anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, but it's literally not. We could look at Jay Dyer right here. Let's go to YouTube, guys, and I'm going to show you a video. I'm going to shameless plug Jay Dyer real quick. And he has a video that goes into this, and he brings all the receipts right here. So I believe it was in this one, but Henry Kissinger, passing off a global elite architect. Anyway, so he talks about the clergy plan, and this can actually be read. You could read plenty of books on this. That they say it's an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, but it actually isn't. It says they concocted a plan to mix and replace white Europeans with other races via immigration. The conspiracy theory is often associated with European groups and parties, but is also spread to North American politics. Memes promoting the conspiracy theory often incorporate misrepresentations of Kalergi's writings. Okay, let's just look up. Let's look up him. Let's see what he said. So he lived in. So I promise you, he was. Let's see what race he was. I'm sure this gets looked up a lot, so people take it away. But youth and education. He is recognized as the founder of the first popular movement for a united Europe, which is what the UN was created. So the UN was created with his. So they had multiple plans to adopt. They had the Kalergi plan, right, which was his way to organize, construct, basically create the mission statement for the UN and how they would actually operate in the world. And so they had his as well as somebody else's, and they picked his. And I don't think Nietzsche, I think he was also not correct. Anyway, in politics, he was an enthusiastic supporter of the 14 points made by Woodrow Wilson on 8 January and pacifist initiatives of Kurt Hiller. So pacifism is also an instrument to create. It's a ploy. Pacifism is it's a cult. It's weird how they would promote pacifism. Like this leader who structured the UN would promote pacifism. Why would he be involved in pacifism? Because pacifist people are easier to control. He joined the Masons, and he co-founded the Pan-European Union as the only way of guarding against an eventual world hegemony by Russia. In 1923, he published a manifesto entitled Pan-Europa. Let's look up Pan-Europa by Kalergi. So too bad I can't fucking read this. Can I actually read this for free? Actually, it might be. Anyway, so Pan-Europa. So I want to read this, but anyway, so it was instrumental in the founding of the Council of Europe in Strasbourg in 1949. So he was instrumental in creating what the EU basically is today. What else? His original vision for a world was divided into only 5 states: a United States of Europe that would link the continental countries of French and Italian possessions in Africa, a Pan-American Union encompassing North and South Americas, the British Commonwealth circling the globe, the USSR spanning Eurasia, and a Pan-Asian Union whereby Japan and China would control most of the Pacific. To him, the only hope for a Europe devastated by war was to federate along lines that the Hungarian-born Romanian Arel Popovici and others had proposed for the dissolved multinational empire of Austria-Hungary. According to whatever Pan-Europe would encompass and extend a more flexible and more competitive Austria-Hungary. So these guys were involved in nation building. That's the point I want to get. These people were involved in nation building. So that just sounds kind of crazy that this guy was wanting to change the nations and the borders of nations and manipulate the world into being divided into certain sectors. So, I mean, you already know that they're going to be involved with Edward Bernays on how to do that. People like Edward Bernays would be employed by these people to be like, how could we make this come to be? How could we market this to the people and manipulate the people to do what we want? We've already proved that that's what the United States government was doing. We already proved that that's what Freud was engaged in. Well, I'm just going to go up to the... He was also involved in pacifism. Preached a lot of pacifism, by the way. A pioneer of European integration. So he was a politician, a philosopher, and a pioneer of European integration. He served as a founding president of the Pan-European Union, right? Of European integration. So anyway, you have the EU, which was created to basically dissolve country lines, and it says that the Kalergi Plan is a massive conspiracy that involves the mass migration, the dissolving of white people, and then you see the results of that. They say it's a conspiracy theory, but it's like all of that stuff all of the stuff that was supposedly a lie and supposedly a conspiracy theory is actually happening. Okay, so unless you're literally a fucking retarded person, you'd believe it, that's what they're trying to do, because it's been happening for a long time. So you see the results of that in Europe right now. And then you have Muslims who believe that it's okay. You guys should read the report. Asmongold I just listened to it yesterday for 7 hours. I listened to the report for 7 hours, and it goes into the details of all of these different cases that happened. And it's some of the most horrible shit you'll ever hear in your life. And then you have people like Hassan Piker, absolute pussy, okay, of a man, grifter, just an overall terrible person, laughs at this. You have these people laughing at the plan. Liberals, okay? You have all of these fucking liberals laughing at this terrible shit that's happening, and fuck conservatives too. But it just so happens to be liberal women and Muslims, okay? Liberal women and Muslims are scoffing at this fucking shit because they think it's funny. They think it's funny that you're getting raped. They think it's funny that your women, your children are getting raped. They think it's funny. Horrible people. So they bring in all these Muslims who don't believe like you believe. They think it's okay to rape white people, literally. Massive cultural differences, and you see the effects of it. So you have this guy, Mehdi Hassan. I just scrolled down and found this right here. The same week that Rupert Lowe put out his bullshit rape gang report, falsely claiming Muslims raped 250,000 white girls, and same week Elon Musk amplified it on here. This happens. Is anyone surprised? They're inciting violence against Muslims and emboldening extremists. Good. So you have this fucking dude, absolutely garbage human being, who should be deported, or even worse. Look at him. He doesn't even look like he belongs in this country, or any white country. British American journalist, editor-in-chief and CEO of new media company. Subscribe here. This is fucking absolutely terrible, man. Muslims don't care about us. They only care about other Muslims. Let's watch this.
Enough is enough. I have had enough. Focus time again. Protecting the country and these fucking little bastards raping our young daughters, raping our kids. Enough is enough. I have had enough. Focus time again.
A 36-year-old white Scottish man is being investigated by counterterrorism police after 5 people were stabbed in Edinburgh. He said after his arrest, "I'm protecting the country from these fucking Muslim bastards raping our young daughters." Yep. This is what happens, dude. This is what happens when people get pissed. And good for them. Good for them. Good for them, dude. Finally, people are standing up. He says that the Rupert Lowe put out the bullshit rape gang report, and that it is bullshit, because that's a low estimate. It was millions of young girls were raped. Millions of young girls were raped. And it was, it's an endemic problem. The police force, social workers, all of that are used to perpetuate this issue, all because they're scared of being racist. That's why I'm saying, like, these paradigms are important, what they infect us with. And that's why they need World War II to be the center since we were a kid. We've been told that World War II was the worst thing that ever happened, that the Holocaust was the worst thing that ever happened, because they need racism. They need you from an early age thinking that being racist is the worst thing you can possibly be. Because if you're scared of being racist, they can bring in the people that are going to kill you and that are going to ruin you and that are going to hurt you. They can make you destroy yourself if you believe that being racist is bad. They get you to shoot yourself in the head. So that's why racism has to be the worst thing ever. And for racism to be the worst thing ever, Hitler has to be the worst person ever. And World War II has to be the worst thing. Everything's been constructed. Okay. I'm done eating snacks and giving you guys a mukbang ASMR. Actually, let's have some kefir right here. This shit slaps, dude. Fuck you, nigga hungry. Okay. So, let's look at the comments real quick. You blame the men of Britain for not protecting their women. Okay, well, I mean, sure, you can blame them, but do you really think that they're to blame? I mean, do you really think that? Sure, they might be to blame, but do you think that there might be people who are more responsible for all of the rape gangs? Sure, you can blame the men, but maybe if you read the rape report, which you're probably not going to do, a lot of the men did try doing something. But the problem is, if they did something, they were arrested. If they did something, they were called racist. They got fired. They got threatened. The problem is, the society that's meant to protect these people were used as a means of, were used as a weapon against them. So a lot of the men did do something. And look, this man is doing something. And look what's happening to him. Look at him. This man did do something. Right here. He did do something. And guess what's happening to him? He's getting arrested. So, what do you want them to do? Yeah, they should stand up. I completely agree, right? But, I mean, do you blame yourself at all for any of the issues that are happening in this country today? Do you have the same accountability that you want them to have? What are you doing? There's plenty of problems that are happening in this country today. What are you doing to fix it? You know, you want to blame the men, you know? But they must persevere. I mean, that's easy for you to fucking say, right? That's easy. Men must persevere. Oh, that's cool. That sounds really idealistic, but where's your accountability? You know, women have specific roles as well. Revolution. Yeah, okay, no Fed posting on my thing, but yeah, revolution. I mean, you can't hold men accountable. Like, what are you doing to help? You know, what are you doing to help? You're not doing anything to help, right? So I wouldn't be so, oh, Seth, you don't even know. I highly doubt. I probably do know. I highly doubt that you are doing. I mean, it'd be great if you were making a meaningful impact, but we're not going to have a revolution. That's not going to happen anytime soon. So I keep my bits to myself. Well, you know, good for you. But I hear a lot of people say stuff like that. But what are you doing? You know, I hear a lot of people saying stuff like that, and being involved in social media, I saw that a lot. But anyway, people always say that they're doing a lot of stuff, but all they're doing is like talking to people, or maybe like talking to other people who are also angry at the government online. But talking to people online isn't really doing anything. Talking to people who agree with you isn't really doing anything. You know what I mean? So, it'd be great if you actually are doing something, but I just don't see that being the case. A lot of times when people say that, they're just kind of LARPing, but hope you are. So what else are they talking about? And then you have the people who deny this once again, and it's just right here. Look at it. Amazing level of BS behind the estimate of 250,000 white girls victimized by Muslim rape gangs. What they did was come up with a number for Telford, Oxford, and Rotherham, the center of the scandal, extrapolate to the rest of the country. Imagine if, to calculate. So, this means that they assumed 100% of the victims were white girls and 100% of the... No, they didn't. So this guy didn't actually read the... so this is another bad faith actor. This guy, can you guys guess what race this guy is? Can you guys guess what race he is? I can. I think we all can guess what race he is. So, bad actor. And so Americans cared a lot about suffering in Africa. It was a key part. I explained why that changed. The cult of victimhood came to dominate our culture, leaving no room for sympathy for others. See, subversive Jew. Subversive Jew. As just, I don't even really fucking know what to say about that. So he said, this is sick stuff. I don't think people like this are redeemable. And what is this about? While Hamlin's exact role in the killing is unclear, report in the Ann Arbor News. So he talks about this being, this is somebody who killed cats. Okay, this is a person who killed cats. And this is what he has to say about it. Right here. These people are irredeemable. Now, what does he say about the Muslim rape gangs? He says, fuck, where was it, dude? This guy's just, this makes my blood boil. And this is what he says, BS. This is what he has to say about the Muslim rape gangs. Okay. He says guys that kill cats are irredeemable, but then he goes on to defend the rape gangs. And he didn't obviously read it because the book talks about how the methods that they use, or the thing talks about the methods that they use. And they didn't say that 100% of the victims were white girls and that 100% of the perpetrators were Muslims. They don't actually say that. They lay out everything, so he's being disingenuous and he's polluting everything. There are 250,000 victims and 250,000 instances of victimization. So it does actually say why. So this guy's fucking just a bad faith actor. It says, because I read the whole thing, it says there were 250,000 victims and 250,000 instances of victimization. So they don't go off of, if they went off of every instance, they're counting every victim as an instance. Nowhere in the book or nowhere in the report does it talk about, not that I remember, does it compile all of the different cases, because many of these cases had hundreds of different instances, because that is what a grooming gang does. It's not a one-off thing. If they counted instances, it'd be possibly hundreds of instances per person, on average at least 10 to 20. So there you go. So they went back 40 years, though I don't think that there were Muslim rape gangs in the 1980s, even though it is well documented that there were. He just says, I don't think that there were. The Oxford number includes all instances of grooming, whether or not they involved sexual contact at all. And not much is shared about the methodology. It is a complete guess, even though the methodology is completely listed in there. It talks about child exploitation, the giving of drugs, the grooming of kids, in a basically lewd and lascivious conduct with children. That's what it's listed as. But those 250,000 victims are explicitly listed as rape victims. That doesn't include all the people who are involved in the grooming gangs. The number is much higher. That 250,000 is just for rape. So this guy's just being disingenuous, and he didn't read the whole thing. I often hear rightists say that the liberals lie, so I don't believe anything. What conclusion are we supposed to draw from the fact that rightists are this indifferent to facts? So this guy just used ChatGPT. In an accepted estimate, which can be then compared to a higher estimate obtained by extrapolating from other. Okay, so this is what he just used ChatGPT. Sweet. And yeah, I mean, it's just a tale as old as time, dude. They want to see us all die. 87 to 95% of the rape gang members were Muslims. Yeah, 87% bore distinctively Muslim names. And that's just the names, you know. That's something that, you know, anybody with an open mind and who isn't retarded can just see that this is just what's happening. It's just a fact. And all these people, like this Jew, hop in here to muddy the waters, to create dissent. And that's what the purpose of this disgusting looking creature. Look at that disgusting creature. That's the purpose of him and different media companies like, like the Boston Globe. He works for the fucking Boston Globe, big news agency. So it's disgusting people like this. Fuck, dude. Why populism ends in disaster. So it's people like this who deserve to be have a fate happen to them worse than prison. And this is why we need fascism. It's because we need to be able to actually have the the recipe to fix all this and actually put these people away like they deserve. Just men like this, just for, oh, but free speech. This is more than that. This guy deserves to go to prison for the rest of his life because you see what he's doing. Everything has an agenda behind it. Absolutely everything. They're weaponizing empathy. They're lying about things that are happening. And it's people like him who adopt the ideology that he has that allowed so many women to get assaulted and so many women's lives to get ruined and so many people's lives to get ruined. It's people like this. He works for the same. He works for the beast. You know, he works for the enemy, and anybody who works for the enemy should be dealt with accordingly. I'm not advocating for violence. I'm just saying that these people should be in some way punished for doing what is clearly subversive behavior, and it's terrible. It's very depressing. If you guys listen to the actual report, it's very horrible. And the thing is, the worst part about it is I doubt those are the worst cases. And the other thing that's horrible is it is 100% believable to anybody who exists in reality, because you see what's happening. You can hear people, and when people are actually allowed to get their voice out, when freedom of speech is actually allowed online, you see an overwhelming support for this. And this is why they need to stifle free speech. And this is why they need to pay so many people. And this is why they need to have so many different news stations. And this is why they need to, create all these laws against free speech. Because when left to our own devices and we're allowed to converse freely, the truth comes out. And the truth is that there's a lot of evil going on. And the truth is that we're right. That these people are trying to kill us, that these people are trying to ruin our lives, that these people control our lives. And that is the truth. And when we're allowed to say who it is, that obviously puts them in danger because we have somebody to direct our hatred toward. And they don't ever want to give us the tools to fix our issues, whether it be with ourselves or whether it be with our countries. Because if we fix our issues, then we are powerful. And if we are powerful, then we defend ourselves. And if we defend ourselves, then they lose. And that's what it is. Because they are agents of evil. They are the agents of the devil. If you don't believe in God, you should at least believe in evil. Because these people are it. This man is it. People like him. They are evil. And they are agents of a devil that if you don't believe in God, they are agents of a devil that you don't believe in. But all of these people in power believe in a God that you don't believe in, which is weird. And even if you don't believe in him, even if you don't believe in the devil, they do. And they are doing his bidding. So the world is what it is. And to anybody who's not stupid can see what's happening. And what do we do? What do we do? Oh, that's a good fucking question. Yeah, Vlad the Impaler would have known to do with that smug looking head. Once again, it's kind of fucking depressing, bro. That's pretty fucking sad. Hey, what the fuck is happening on Twitter today? And this guy, Mehdi Hassan, right here, once again, probably a Muslim dude, Pakistani. I don't know what if anybody who's been to Pakistan, if anybody who's been to these countries and who isn't a bad faith actor, can go to these places and just see what it is and see that these people are not like us and that their culture is worse than ours and it's not compatible with ours. And when you bring them over here, they prey on us. They prey on our women. They see us as less than them. And everything's been reversed. We've been told that we're the evil ones. We've been told that we're the racists, that we're bad, when in reality it is the opposite. In fact, that we Europeans are the most compassionate people to have ever existed on the planet. We're the most welcoming of outsiders. And because of that, and other factors, we're having all of that used against us. And these people know what they're doing. And they should be prosecuted. They should not have free speech. We should not have free speech, because if free speech allows things like this, then that is wrong. We don't have free speech anyway. So we might as well have laws that protect us and protect our people. Big news on the clinical trial front. So once again, this subversive Jew is talking about, what is he talking about? He's talking about us giving all of our fucking money to Africa. He's talking about stuff against the NRA. That this guy, that he's basically painting the NRA and frat dudes as a problem. The NRA chief set a kitten on fire when he was in high school. I'm sure I could dig into that and find that that's somehow false. But what else is he talking about, guys? The U.S. moves to reclaim the therapeutic pipeline. He's talking about pharmaceuticals. What else is he talking about, guys? All these things that I just brought up beforehand. Women are probably taking GLP-1s when they're feeling ambitious, and he's also talking to women. It's this methodology leaves a lot to be desired. Women are probably taking GLP-1s when they're feeling ambitious, trying to find a partner, or trying to get into the wedding dress. There's no method put forward for this. Trying to get women to stop losing weight. So, yeah, anyway, just subversiveness, bro. It's just... So this guy got a message. New definition of Jew is someone who writes articles that are too hard for chuds to understand. Are you Jewish? Your articles are hard to read. Very Jewish. He didn't say no. And the answer is yes, he is absolutely Jewish. This guy is the... If I drew him, I would be put on the SPLC newsletter as anti-Semite of the week because this motherfucker looks atrocious. He looks like something from the Daily Stormer. What a fucking kvetching goober. Dude, anytime I hop on the internet, it's just depressing, bro. It's just fucking depressing. So, anyway. I mean, I know we kind of went off topic here, but that is how dinosaurs, how the government's just using everything against us, bro. Idea of dinosaurs, which this whole story just sounds fucking bullshit. I'd recommend you guys really looking into it. I'm going to go to that news article one more time. Why it's so important. So these are all the photos that they took, which I don't know about you guys. These are plaster molds right here. So these are all plaster molds. These aren't the actual skulls. So we don't have a complete skeleton. These are all fucking plaster molds, homie. And these are the only pictures that I can find of the fucking unearthing of it. And that's plaster, dude. That's fucking plaster. Sioux T-Rex unearthing photos. Images. So you don't see really any photos of the actual unearthing of Sue the dinosaur. So everybody wants to say, like, anytime I say dinosaurs aren't real, people say, bro, there's a 90% skeleton at fucking of a T-Rex. I'm like, yeah, well, you're a dumb idiot. These are the photos, bro. These are the photos, bro. Okay, let's look at this real quick. I didn't even think it would look this fake, but that's fake. Guys, that's fake, okay? That is fake. And you're retarded. These are plaster molds that are listed on the Wikipedia and all over the internet. These are what they supposedly found and took plaster molds of. An explorer and fossil collector found small pieces of bone at the base of a cliff who confirmed the bones belonged to a T-Rex. What they found was an incredible skeleton with over 90% of it by bulk recovered, the most complete T-Rex fossil ever unearthed. Since 1997, it has been a feature at the Field Museum of National History in Illinois. I just want to see who owns that real quick. I'm just curious who owns that. A private nonprofit institution. The museum operates in close partnership with the municipal government agency, Chicago Park District. What private nonprofit institution owns it? So that's interesting. It is a museum popular for the size and quality of its educational and scientific programs, as well as its extensive scientific specimen and artifact collections. Okay. And a private nonprofit institution. The museum operates, it is a private nonprofit, in close partnership with the municipal government agency, Chicago Park, which owns the land and the building. The museum is run by a private board of trustees and funded through a combination of ticket sales, memberships, donations, endowments, and grants, along with public funding for specific programs or maintenance. Marshall Field. See, this is how you look into stuff. The museum and its collections originated in 1893 World's Columbian Exposition and the artifacts displayed at the fair. So these different little things, like, you don't have to control so many things. You just, this is the church, as that one girl said. This is the place of worship. You just create all these idols, these false things that actually aren't real. Like, this is a plaster mold of a supposed T-Rex that they found. This is a mammoth, and they have all these different things that people come and worship at the altar of, naturalism. And because they want to believe, they don't want to believe in God. They hate God. They hate the world. And then so they come to these places, and all they got to do is create some stupid, fabricated, clearly false and gay story of them unearthing a T-Rex, and then put it up there, and then people are just like, yeah, God's not real, dude. Hey, you're freaking, big guy in the sky, or whatever the fuck they say. What do they always say? Sky Daddy. Oh, those people are the worst. Work camp for anybody who says Sky Daddy unironically. Oh, you believe in Sky Daddy. Look, dude, I believe in science. Look, this is a fucking clay mold of some bones that they just so happen to find. But look at this. This is, I believe because look at this, bro. Really? You think you're so smart because you believe in God? Look, dude. Here's some plaster in the shape of some bones in this building, surrounded by other things of plaster and shit, dude. I'm so much smarter than you. You're so gay, dude. They're all just so gay and retarded. Oh, so gay and retarded. Like, this is the this is what they have, dude. These are the photos. Like, these are the photos. These are the photos, guys. This is what they have to show us of the. This is what they have to show us, gentlemen. This is it right here, guys. And you'd think if it was one of the biggest findings, basically in the history, proving dinosaurs, you'd think they would have a little bit more photos of this historic moment, don't you guys? That they would have some more photos of this historic moment. Look at that fucking face. That's the face of a liar. But that's like I said, that's the fucking equivalent to Roswell. That's like, hey, look at this. Where'd I put it? Where'd I put that shit? Roswell, guys. I can't find it. Doesn't matter. It's like those stupid. It's giving the exact same vibes as this. Same vibes, guys. Right here. Same vibes, same exact fucking vibes as this. Look at this. Right here. Now I need to find the fucking article, dude. Right. Okay, bitch. You motherfucker. Bitch ass fucking Google. Hey Siri, how about you do something for me and fucking... There you go. Same vibes as this.
You can say things like, set a reminder, play
Shut up, bitch.
And what is the weather tomorrow in
Shut
San
up.
Francisco?
Okay, Mossad heard all that. So this is given the same vibes as this. Did my shit just close out? My OBS? Okay, no, it didn't. Same vibes as that. Right there. Wow. It's almost like they have a playbook. And they carefully excavated more than 250 bones from the site. And you guys see that right there? That's not a bone. None of this is actual bone. This is all plaster. Where are the original bones? Because they wouldn't leave the actual bones in open air like that. If you think that's the actual dinosaur, you're fucking an idiot. If you think they would just leave bones open air like that, right there. The tyrannic T-Rex skeleton of so much acclaim laid buried near the bottom of a large hill in central South Dakota. She had remained entombed and unnoticed since her death approximately 65 million years ago. That's total bullshit. Okay, so this might seem like a little bit more reliable article. Yeah, so this is the supposed fossil. And this is what they do. They create this vivid imagery to get you to believe it. During her lifetime, she must have been a real terror. She stood over 12 feet high at the hips, more than 41 feet long, and had a skull more than 5 feet in length with sockets for 58 teeth. It's like, that's cool. You're making all of this up, retard. Where are the original bones at? Doesn't say. Anyway, so they have the same photos, bro. It's the same photos. So anyway, if you guys don't see this bullshit, you're retarded. You are retarded. Okay, let's look at most complete. So that's Sue. That's Sue right there. That's the biggest one. And then so right here, look. Okay, we're gonna get into another segment real quick, and then we'll cut it after this. So here are the 10 most incredible dinosaur discoveries ever made, guys. The 10 most. The femur of a megalosaurus. Dinosaur fossils have captured the popular imagination. Here's a countdown of the 10 most significant and incredible fossils ever discovered. In the top 10 is simply the femur of a megalosaurus. It's the first dinosaur ever discovered, and ever discovered. Its bones were previously thought to be those of an elephant. Okay, guys. So this was such a significant finding that they thought this is what it is, guys. I mean, bro, if you believe in dinosaurs, you're the biggest fucking retard, bro. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you probably watch Marvel. You probably have a favorite superhero too. This is the 10th most significant fossil finding in history ever, guys. Ever. In the top 10. In the top 10. Let's look at this. Just know this is the 10th most. And it's so significant, in fact, that they thought it belonged to a fucking elephant. This is the piece of it, guys. How significant. Iguanodon. What is this? I would think it's some fucking retard bullshit trash. Maybe a turd that the cheese man left in his pants, bro. Like up first is counting down with another first, a specimen of Iguanodon discovered by Mary Ann Mantell is thought to be this is the femur. Or no, this is the Iguanodon right here. This is what it is. No, it's not. This is not an animal, which broadened the horizon of scientists' understanding of the animals greatly. Above herbivore teeth. This is the teeth, guys, of a herbivore. This is the 9th most significant finding ever for dinosaurs. Some petrified shit in a rock. Archaeopteryx, or whatever the fuck. Those guys really like naming shit retarded. This find was the first dinosaur ever found that scientists believe flew. Yep, that's so significant. That's not even a fossil, that's an imprint. Combined with the discovery of the Sinosauropteryx, these fossils help scientists make the connection between birds and dinosaurs. Hadrosaur, oh, that's cool. I wonder how the first near-complete dinosaur skeleton, this hadrosaur, was a major milestone in the field of paleontology. Okay, do we need to look into this to find out it's bullshit too, guys? Okay, I'm just going to do that for the sake of clipping this. And I really just want to show people how fucking gay this shit is. Oh, wait, I copied the wrong thing. I wonder if we've ever found another one. Okay, wow, that's really cool, dude. This is really cool. That looks totally real. Guys, that looks definitely real. That looks so real. It says they found a near complete skeleton. I wonder which parts of it are fake. They said it's near complete. It's a genus of hydrosaurid ornithopod dinosaur that lived in North America during the late Cretaceous period in what is now the Woodbury Formation in New Jersey. Like 77 million years ago, bro. The holotype specimen was found in fluvial marine sedimentation, meaning that the corpse of the animal was transported by a river and washed out to sea. Some fossils are found in the Tar Heel Formation. They were large animals. I just found out the history of the discovery. So if you guys look at this original one looks a little different than this one. So kind of weird. In 1838, John Estoph Hopkins was digging in a marl pit on a small tributary of the Cooper River in Haddonfield, New Jersey, and part of the Campanian Age Woodbury Formation. When he uncovered large bones, he put them on display at his home, also in Haddonfield. In 1858, the bones sparked the interest of a visitor, William Parker, who dug out the rest of the bones from the marl pit in the same year. Okay, so all of these stories sound weird, but it's never like, oh, it's never like this. It's never like, oh, we fucking found, like we went to go search for things, and we found what we were searching for. We found this and we dug it up, and here's a bunch of very lengthy documentation. It's always very convoluted. Like if you're a paleontologist and you find something like this guy found some fucking bones, okay? John Hopkins was digging in a marl pit and he found some bones. But guess what? He didn't keep digging. He wasn't like, holy shit. Like you'd think that if you found in that area, you'd think that you would have kept digging it because you just found proof of monsters. You would think that you just found, like, wouldn't you do this if you, like, imagine that you find gold. During the gold rush, when they found a little bit of gold, what did they do? They completely raped the area to find more gold. They stripped the land of vegetation. I mean, they were digging, dude. They were searching for this gold if they found a gold vein. And what did this guy do? He found a gold vein, arguably more valuable than gold. And then what did he do? He abandoned it and just walked away. Until this one fucking goober, William Parker Folk, who we'll look into. We'll look into William Parker Folk too, who dug out the rest of the bones from the marl pit in the same year. Sick, dude. The excavation site known as the Hadrosaurus Folki Lady site is now a National Historic Landmark. He contacted Lady, and together they recovered 8 teeth from the maxillar and dentary areas, dental battery fragments, left maxilla fragments, 3 partial dorsal vertebrae, a 13 caudal centra, including an almost complete middle caudal vertebrae, other fragments including a partial right coracoid, left humerus, right radius, left ulna, left ilium, right ischium, pubis, and just all these different parts, and basically a finger. So they found like 20 bones, 30 bones. While originally a portmanteau at Haddonfield, the location of its discovery with the accepted suffix for dinosaurs, the name was scientifically justified as deriving from Greek. He recognized Lady. I'm pretty sure Lady's a Jewish name, dude. I'm sorry, but we're looking at this, guys. Okay. Where the fuck was it, dude? Where is Lady? I'm always like, oh, is it a Jew? I don't know. I want to look into the guy. Anyway, I don't want to get too sidetracked. He recognized the bones from a dinosaur because of the similarity to those of Iguanodon, which I promise you is also fucking bullshit. Discovered in England some decades before, but at the time, the skeleton of Hadrosaurus was one of the most complete dinosaur skeletons known. Lady's monograph was written in 1860, but the American Civil War delayed its publication until 65. He reconstructed the Hadrosaurus as a biped. Okay, so this is how much these guys knew, and this is how much we know. He reconstructed it, and that's what they do. They reconstruct it, okay, because they don't fucking know. They literally find a bunch of shit in the ground. They don't know if it belongs to different animals, and they put it together like a fucking Lego set. And then the parts that don't fit, what do? They use wire and they use plaster. I mean, come on, guys. This is so retarded. He accidentally reconstructed as a biped, in contrast to the view at the time that such dinosaurs were quadrupedal. The entire skeleton was completely assembled in 1868 by a team including English sculptor and naturalist Benjamin Waterhouse Hawkins, and was put on display at Philadelphia Academy of Natural Sciences. So it wasn't a complete skeleton, guys, but when you look at it, it's a complete skeleton somehow. So this is how they fucking pollute the water. It wasn't even nearly a complete skeleton, but when you look at it, it is a complete skeleton, because what do? They're missing a shit ton of parts, very important parts like ribs and stuff, and they're like, oh, this is just what it would look like. This is not at all what they would look like. We have no idea what dinosaurs look like, or even if they ever existed. When it was first put together, it was displayed with a plaster skull sculpted by Hawkins. Many other artists have recreated it with skulls from other related species. Okay, so we don't know what its skull actually looked like, guys. This skull that you see, this was originally the skull that it had, and he set it up like this because he, like, look at this. This is what it originally looked like. This is what they originally found. This does not look like it actually functions. Do you guys see how retarded this is? Do you guys see how fake this is? I hope you guys see that. This, and that skull right there, he made it up. He made it up. Do you think that he may have made up other things? Do you really think that that's what it looked like? Even though he set it up as a biped with arms, even though this is actually what it looked like. And does that head look like this head? No, it doesn't. Do you know why? Because they changed the fucking head on it to match other animals, which I am 100% positive they did the same thing with those animals. So, as I've said this whole time, all of science is based off of a foundation of retardation, of fucking idiots. And everybody's an idiot for believing anything these people say. This head, and I promise you that the head of this animal, which was based off of other animals, if they found another dinosaur, quote unquote, they would use this fake head as a model for the head of another animal. You guys see what I'm talking about? You guys see how down the line it's like a game of telephone? They call this science. This paleontology, it's a science, guys. There's dudes who literally make paper mache skulls and are like, oh, that looks about right. They put it on an animal and then they put it in your fucking textbooks and they're like, hey, this is what it looked like. And does this animal, hey, let's look at this, guys. You see those ribs? You see the ribs and the shape of those bones? Tell me if that looks any different than this. Because it 100% does. It doesn't even look the same. They don't even have the same shaped bones. Not even the same shaped bones. So, it's just fucking silly. Just absolutely silly. Not even the same shape of bones. I mean, I don't even know. I just think people are so fucking stupid. Look at the neck on this. Even if this might be just a recreation made out of metal, it's supposed to be accurate. Look at the neck on that. Look how much different that neck is than this one. This one is entirely shorter, thicker. It looks entirely different. And same thing with the front claws and the front legs. Looks entirely different, guys. So it's all bullshit. Let's look at the other one. Fighting fossils. Well, this is fake. Okay. Discovered by the self-named Dino Cowboy in June of 2019, this fossil depicts a Triceratops in battle with either a young T-Rex or... I don't even think I need to look this up, but I'm going to do it. If they actually use this as a real fucking example, I'm going to fucking just shoot myself in the fucking head. Okay. Perhaps the best dinosaur fossil ever discovered. See why has hardly anyone seen it? A Montana rancher found 2 skeletons in combat. Let's stop right here and hear that and hear what just was said. They found them in combat, the dueling dinosaurs, but who did they belong to and will the public ever see them? I think we can all agree how ridiculous the thought or the idea that 2 animals fighting each other died at the same time and were petrified in the position they were engaging, where they were fighting each other in. How ridiculous that is. And this is considered one of the top 10. Like, other animals didn't eat at him. Other animals didn't take him away. I mean, if it was such an animal dense area where these two massive animals were in such close proximity with each other to fight, you'd think that there'd be many other dinosaurs around to eat their dead bodies. As we all know, what happens if an animal dies in the woods? 100% of the time, within 24 hours, the body has been eaten or has been attempted to get eaten. And these massive animals aren't like wolves. They have the power to break bones with their teeth, and they have the power to move other big animals. The two had gone bone collecting anyway, so this Montana rancher calls himself the Dino Company, was wearing his trademark back felt Stetson cattleman hat. This just sounds made up. Phillips asked if he had found anything. Yes, he said a pelvis weathering out of a hill. Not a big deal, except this one appeared to have an articulated femur, potentially suggesting a rare level of completeness. They went to the site. Phillips could tell right away it was from a ceratopsian, a group of herbivores, beaked dinosaurs. So why would herbivores be fighting each other? And this is what he found right here. That's what he found. Could have been to anything. This time with Lidge. So this is... They built a road to the site. They began excavating the ceratopsian with pen knives and brushes. Business partners were brought in. Secret contracts were arranged. Eatman came to help when he could, along with a rotating cast of confidants. In the U.S., fossils found on private land belonged to the landowner. Prospectors simply need their permission to dig. The Murray signed off, and Phillips O'Connor got to work. After 2 weeks, the body of the plant eater had been revealed. It was more than a pelvis and femur. It looked like a fairly complete skeleton of the Triceratops. One day, Phillips was behind the wheel of his uncle's backhoe, scooping out soil from around the fossil so it could be removed. Carefully watching each dump of the bucket, at one point he noticed dark fragments along the light-colored sandstone. I don't think they'd be using that. Oh no, he thought. He jumped down, combed through the sand, found the claw of theropod. Obviously, these two dinosaurs weren't friends, so what were they doing in there together? 3 months of intensive excavation followed, during which Phillips lost 15 pounds. In the end, he and his partners had a 28-foot-long ceratopsian and a 22-foot-long theropod and 4 multi-ton blocks. A little cowboy ingenuity, and we've got him out of the hills. So it was either juvenile T-Rex or its relative. So they don't even know. They don't even know if it was a T-Rex or not a T-Rex. A rare dwarf species whose existence is disputed. So it was either a T-Rex or a relative that might not exist. Both dinosaurs were extraordinarily well preserved, fully articulated. So the reason why all this shit sounds ridiculous, and why people believe it, even though it sounds ridiculous, is because it's so fucking stupid and ridiculous. That's why. With envelopes of skin and possibly mummified internal organs. So it says possibly as if they wouldn't know already. And they appear to have been battling when they died, because, I mean, you have no idea. Teeth were found in the spine and near the pelvis of the... Okay, well... And the theropod skull was split laterally as if it had been kicked. Phillips dubbed them the Montana dueling dinosaurs. They're remarkable specimens. Okay, so he literally just... he said, dinosaurs bring drama, Phipps said. And being a cowboy, I'm not a drama fan. You can have it. Every one of these fucking stories sounds so stupid, guys. Every one of them. Like when you hear about the guy who invented or who discovered DNA and its double helix pattern, it didn't sound like this. It's like he had been working for this many years, and this is a very logical explanation of how he discovered that, how they mapped the human genome, all of this shit. But then you have this fucktard who's like, dinosaurs bring drama, Phipps said, and being a cowboy, I'm not a drama fan. You can have it. This entire story is made up. For years after unearthing the dueling dinosaurs, Phipps and his team tried every tactic they could think of to drum up interest for a sale. Why would they need to sell it? It's two dinosaurs, some of the most complete dinosaurs ever found. And for years, Phipps and his team tried to market this fucking thing. So that sounds weird. That's really scientific, guys. They set up a website and a marketing campaign called the Paleo Instant Project. They try to get sponsors like Dr. Pepper to fund further work on the fossils. If this was such an important discovery, if any of these were, they wouldn't have to fucking drum up. Like, I'm pretty sure scientists even have to know this shit's like everyone in the scientific community has to secretly know this is all fucking retarded. They contacted natural history museums. And this was in 2000. This wasn't like fucking 50 years ago. So they could have literally just called somebody at so the Smithsonian offered 15 mil, and the Museum of the Rockies in Bozeman, Montana, whose then head paleontologist told them they were scientifically useless. In order for a specimen to be of scientific use and publishable, we have to know its exact geographic position, its exact stratigraphic position, and the specimen must also be in the public trust, accessible for study, which the specimen is not. That's weird. All right, already finding holes and shit. But the Smithsonian was like, we'll buy it, because it's not about facts, it's about indoctrinating people. Phipps called Horner's reaction sad, adding, if somebody in his position is telling the world that the best dinosaur possibly ever discovered in the world are worthless, what donor's going to donate anything to paleontology? Well, that's because there's some pretty, here's the thing. If you found that, wouldn't you probably, if you were involved, if this guy was supposedly involved in finding dinosaurs for years, and what he would do is he would find them and sell them, you'd think that he would have actually known these qualifications. You understand what I'm saying? You think he would have already known the standard operating procedure for finding a significant discovery. And he had to have at some point contacted the Smithsonian to buy other fossils, right? Supposed fossils that he had said previously that he was really interested in, or that he found a lot of. The Smithsonian offered money, but in order for a specimen, but then the other place said, fuck you. In order for a specimen to be of scientific use and publishable, we would have had to know its exact geographic position. Why didn't he just tell him that? Why wouldn't he tell him its stratigraphic position? Why wouldn't he say, why wouldn't he allow that the specimen be open for people to study? Like, those are all very simple, very, very simple. Listen to this, guys. Because the fact that they didn't know where he got it from, at the depth that he got it from, and that it wasn't accessible to people for them to study, that they couldn't accept it. That sounds pretty reasonable. But anyway, despite all of those things not being met, which are all pretty simple, you'd think that he would have that information, but he doesn't, guys. And he had to literally create a marketing campaign for this. What does this sound like to you guys? It sounds like total fucking bullshit. Everything we found so far, all of the significant discoveries, guys, have been total fabrications. I want you to see this. Although the fossils technically belong to the Murrays, they city control of what to do with them to Phipps and his team via a contract, the details of which remain private. We have a pretty... Okay, and then a lot of secrecy here, a lot of privacy, a lot of secrecy. Don't know where, at what depth it was found. Don't know exactly where it was found. It's not accessible to people for people to study. The deals were private. The deal specifies that any proceeds between the Murrays and Phipps be split and then subdivided with his team, which includes the owners of CK Preparations, a commercial fossil services company. And it's just a money grab. And Peter Larson of the Black Hills Institute of Geological Research, which has unearthed some of the most complete T-Rex specimens ever found. Larson's story is one of loss. After the T-Rex known as Sue was discovered by Black Hills in 1990, a dispute arose over its legal ownership. 2 years later, the bones were seized by the FBI and South Dakota National Guard in a highly publicized case, and ownership was returned to the landowner, a Sioux rancher whose deed was held in trust by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. He sold Sioux at auction for $8.36 million to the Field Museum in Chicago. We were just reading about that, weren't we? Subsequently, Larson was sentenced to 2 years in federal prison. For 14 years, the Seversons and Murrays operated the ranch in amicable partnership, but in 2005, the Murrays purchased the other half of the land. Exactly why isn't clear. The Seversons say Liege called to ask about buying them out, while Mary Ann says the Seversons approached them unexpectedly. An agreement was reached to split the estate. Liege and I knew nothing about fossils. We just ran cows and farms. That's all we did. But that must be a different person. But these just look fake, bro. This is fake. Last November, a court ruled that fossils on Montana state and private land could be considered minerals. Fossils undoubtedly can be composed of minerals, but they have generally been recognized as belongings to the surface estate owner, whom we normally think as the landowner. Anyway, so this is just a bunch of bullshit, guys. So that's there you go. That's a really fucking strong case. Let's find the other ones. Petrified nodosaur. The fossil was accidentally discovered by miners in Canada. It is one of the best preserved dinosaurs ever discovered, with much of the tissue in its body fossilized rather than decomposed. So I might believe something like this because this looks like a fucking crocodile, doesn't it? That looks basically like a crocodile. But let's look into this one. Discovered at an oil sands mine north of Fort McCurry, Alberta, the specimen is remarkable for being among the best preserved dinosaur fossils of its size ever found. It preserved not only the armor in their life positions, but also remains of their keratin sheets overlying skin and stomach contents from the animal's last meal. The melanosomes were also found that indicate the animal had a reddish pinkish skin tone. Yeah, that's what it indicates. It found some of this stuff, so that's what it indicates. So they're just guessing. The holotite specimen was uncovered on March 21st, 2011 at the Millennium Mine in oil sands. See, they found melanosomes. Oh, that means it could have been possibly pink, so we're going to say it's pink instead of just saying we don't know, but there were melanosomes there. It was discovered by a miner, Sean Funk. That's a fake name. Who was digging in the bank and noticed a specimen, the Wabasca member sediments. That's a Native American. Sediment. So, that's probably like near native land, I'm guessing. We're being removed to allow mining of the underlying bitumen-rich sands of the McCurry Formation. Let's see. After 3 days of mine safety training, museum staff began working to recover all pieces of the fossil. Aside from several pieces broken free, the bulk of the specimen was still embedded 8 meters up a cliff that was 12 meters high. The process took 14 days in total. So, that's what the restoration is. It was a large dinosaur measuring 18 feet long and weighing 1.3 tons. The Suncor specimen is remarkable for its three-dimensional preservation of a large, articulated dinosaur complete with soft tissue. Cool. So this is what it looked like. So this is what they say was one of the most complete things ever found. I want to show you guys this, dude, just so we can really, you guys can say that people can't say that I'm not uneducated or that I'm not educated, that I'm uneducated and I don't look into this stuff. This is the 5th most important fossil ever discovered. It said the most complete of its kind. And this is what it fucking looked like, guys. You see this? Do you see that? And then what do? They put some wire around there to show people, hey, look, that's actually what it looked like. They say that this is one of the most complete skeletons ever found. And once again, this is what it looked like, guys. That looks fucking retarded. That's fake. And so they just say that's what it looked like. And then this is their reconstruction of it, guys. I'm going to show you. This is their reconstruction of it. This is how they reconstructed it to look. Because science, guys. Because science. I'm looking at the receipts here. These are the receipts, guys. These are the receipts. I'm not making anything up. I'm not being ridiculous. I'm not over-exaggerating. This is what they found. Okay. This is what they said it looked like. Okay, buddy. I mean, that's just so fucking stupid. Once again, that's the restoration. And they rely on restorations. Just like that guy literally created the skull of that one animal out of plaster. They do the same thing, but with CGI. And people believe it. Nobody looks this much into this shit. it says right here, while many small dinosaurs have been preserved with traces of soft tissue and skin, they are usually flattened and compressed during fossilization. Similar looking hadrosaurid mummies have a shriveled, desiccated appearance due to their partial mummification prior to fossilization. So this is what they're going to tout as an impressive and undeniable example of dinosaurs. Some fucking rocks. That's what it is. And then they say, oh, but this is actually what it looked like because this is what it looked like. Fucking retards. So anyway, diet, and they're just going to be able to tell you what its diet is because of that. This is the specimen. This is the entire specimen. That doesn't look anything like what we saw. And that also, I mean, looks like a fucking alligator to me. This looks like a fucking flattened alligator. Looks like an alligator that was ran over with a car. And this is what they tell. They're like, hey, this is our best example we have of this type of animal. And this is what they even say, guys. Like, they'll just throw in all this dumb, fucking pandering, useless information. The fact that these are front heavy is probably what led to the animal being fossilized upside down. This is what happens when you have a bunch of fucking nerds with nothing better to do, and you pay them. They're gonna sit here and they're just gonna talk. They're just talking. Like, the fact that it's front heavy is probably what led to the animal being fossilized upside down. It's like, nice information, faggot. Nice, bro. Like, that's really, like, what makes you think what a dumb, useless bit of information. And they have no idea why. They're just like, this is science to them, guys. This is science. This is dinosaur science. This is paleontology. You have a nigga saying it's front heavy, so that could be what led it to being fossilized upside down. It's like, nice, bro. You went to school for 8 years, and that's what you came up with. It would have been better if you just didn't say anything. If you would have been like, why does it matter if it's upside down? It's just, it just further discredits you, further shows that you guys are just full of shit. It landed on the seabed on its back with enough force to deform the immediately underlying sediments. This much sediment settled over the carcass prior to release of the bodily fluids, as evidenced by fluid escape structures preserved in the sediments, and the body cavity becoming filled with sand. A siderite concretion began to form around the carcass shortly after its arrival on the seabed. All right, so that's another story that just sounds fucking stupid. Another story that sounds stupid, guys. Which one can we find that doesn't sound stupid? That sounds like pretty solid. A rare glimpse into the everyday lives of prehistoric marine lizards. This fossil depicts a female something sore giving birth to a pup. Okay. I don't know if I have the energy to just show how gay all this shit is. And Wikipedia is good because you can go to all the sources that it lists and just go to primary sources. It was the first complete fossil to be discovered in the early 19th century, so it was the first complete fossil of the whatever family. It was a fairly complete specimen discovered by Mary and Joseph around 1814 in Lyme Regis, but was reported as lost. In his review of the Latipinit, whatever of England, the name was first used by Charles Koenig in 1818, but it was not used in a formal scientific description. So here's another fucking story that just isn't. It was found, but then it was lost. And this is a cast. Okay, so let's see if we can't find the actual picture of the actual skeleton, which looks to be right here. So it's just another. It just sounds weird, right? It was lost, and then it was found again. None of these sound like solid discoveries that are very open. It doesn't sound very scientific, guys, does it? None of this sounds scientific. And now partially lost specimen, now assigned. So here you go. And right here, it was not used in a formal scientific description. It's now attributed to, I'm not saying these fucking words, in 1821 considered to have taxonomic priority over that and named the species this based on a now partially lost specimen. That's very scientific. It based off of a now partially lost specimen now assigned to the Temnodontosaurus that was discovered and collected between 1811 and 1812. One specimen at home. So it's based off of things that aren't even real. You see that? One specimen that Home had assigned to Proteosaurus was the first complete ichthyosaur skeleton known, but it was destroyed during World War II. The 2 casts were rediscovered in 2020. So the casts, so that's what I'm saying, guys, is everything we know about dinosaurs is just a fabrication, literally. They couldn't find it, and then, but they found 2 casts. They were rediscovered in 2022. 100 years, like 80 years later, the 2 casts of them were rediscovered in 2022, showing that the specimen belonged to the Ichthyosaurus, but of uncertain species. Bro, it sounds like these motherfuckers don't know shit about fuck. During the 19th century, almost all fossil ichthyosaurs were attributed to Ichthyosaurus, resulting in the genus having over 50 species by 1900. These species, it sounds like these motherfuckers just don't know shit about fuck, guys. Come on. These species were subsequently moved to separate genera or synonymized with other species. Described in 2015 from a fossil found in the early 1980s in Dorset, England, was named after Anning. The fossil was acquired by Doncaster Museum in our gallery, where it was misidentified as a plaster cast. These motherfuckers don't know shit about fuck. I mean, it sounds like I'm writing this to disprove dinosaurs. It sounds like I'm writing all these articles to disprove dinosaurs. The fossil, this fossil, guys, this one that we're talking about, was acquired by the Doncaster Museum and Art Gallery, where it was misidentified as a plaster cast. That's so scientific. These guys are great at their job. These guys can misidentify a plaster cast. If it was supposedly real and they misidentified it as plaster, these guys don't know shit about fuck. And these are the guys that these people worship. In 2008, Dean Lomax from the University of Manchester recognized it as genuine and worked with Judy Messier of the State University of New York to establish it as a new species. Guys, does that sound scientific? Does any of this sound scientific? So, a fossil was misidentified as a plaster cast, which you would assume would be able to be easily proven by sampling it, by looking at it, because I'm sure plaster looks a little different than fossilized bone. So this is the 4th most important discovery of all time from dinosaurs, one of the most complete skeletons ever, and it was it's based off of bullshit. So that's crazy. In 2008, Dean Lomax from the University of Manchester recognized it as genuine. How did he recognize it as genuine? I'm sure if I looked into it, it wouldn't say anything. I'm looking into it enough to know that this is gay and fake. Hope you guys watching this are just realizing how fucking fake all this is. He recognized it as genuine and worked with Judy Messier of the State University of New York, very Jewish, to establish it as a new species. So, it's a plaster cast. Oh no, it's not. It's real. Let's identify it as a new species, guys. This isn't actually a plaster cast like all you other guys who are experts in your field thought it was. You guys misidentified it as plaster. It's not plaster. Let's identify it as a new species. Don't ask questions. Don't look into it further. That's fucking crazy. That's just the gayest, fakest shit I've ever heard. Some fossils still had baby specimens inside them, indicating that the Ichthyosaurus was viviparous. Similar finds in the related, and it's not even just one thing. It's every single fossil I found is sketchy. This is definitely the most fake of all of them, but every fossil I have found has been weird. And it's been very unscientific, clouded in mystery, and none of them allow the public to test it. The public can't test any of these. So they say they test it, but I guess even them testing it and being experts in the field still think that fossils, they still mistake actual fossils for plaster and vice versa. So that's pretty fucking funny. Let's look at the next one. Nest of baby dinosaurs, guys. This one I already know. This sounds like the shoes at Auschwitz. We already know this is fake. Nest of baby dinosaurs. Let's look at this. What started out as a It's just his. One second. Okay, this is fucking fake too. Oh my gosh, bro. I don't even want to fucking. Everything's fake. Let's see where they're getting the. Discovered in Mongolia, this fossilized nest contains 15 young. And gave scientists a never before seen look into the upbringing of these dinosaurs. Wow, sounds fucking fake and gay. Let's look at this. Let's look. It's got to have a wiki. Okay, and it says it's got to say on this. By the way, this is. It just said authentic on there, so it says that an authentic nest was found. So if a girl told you, like, I really didn't cheat on you, you'd be like, it sounds like you cheated on me. Why'd you say really? Like, I authentically didn't cheat on you. You'd be like, why'd you have to add authentic in there? And this is saying that it's an authentic nest of dinosaurs is insinuating that there are inauthentic nests of dinosaurs, which just adds a whole other dynamic to this. That looks like enchantment table writing. It's a genus of small, the Protoceratops is a genus of small whatever dinosaurs that live in Asia during the late Cretaceous, around 75 to 71 million years ago. They don't know that. The genus includes two species, Andrewsii and Helen Andrewsii. You know that guy's name is Andrew, who found that. The former was described in 1923 with fossils from the Mongolian. You know what I found is none of these were found in like the 60s or 70s. It's like there's this massive gap. It's like a long time ago where we can't really go back and question it, and then recently where they have the technology to fake this shit a little bit better. That's weird. The former was described in 1923 with fossils from the Mongolian Chakota Formation, and the latter in 2001 with fossils from the Chinese Bayan Mandahu Formation. It was initially believed to be an ancestor of whatever the fuck that Power Ranger name is, and a larger ceratopsian such as Triceratops and relatives, until the discoveries of other. It's crazy that these scientists are so fucking blind. Protoceratops were small ceratopsians, while adults were largely quadrupedal. Juveniles had the capacity. I want to find, history of discovery. In 1900, Henry Fairfield Osborn suggested that Central Asia may have been the center of origin of most animal species, including humans. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm going to have to look into that fucking guy too. Including humans, which caught the attention of explorer and zoologist Roy Chapman Andrews. This idea later gave rise to the first, second, and third Central Asiatic expeditions to China and Mongolia, organized by the American Museum of Natural History under the direction of Osborn and field leadership of Andrews. All of these supposed big discoveries were found in weird ways. Organized by the American Museum of Natural History under the direction of Osborn and field leaderships of Andrews. Yeah, he named the genus after himself. That sounds like a dude who wants to be famous and just made a bunch of shit up. The Andrewsii genus. The team of the third expedition arrived in Beijing for the final preparations and started work in the field in 1922. During late 1922, the expedition explored the famous flaming cliffs of the Shabaraku-Usu region of the Chakota Formation Gobi Desert, now known as the Banjak region. On 2 September, the photographer James B. Shackelford discovered a partial juvenile skull, which would become the hollow-type specimen of Protoceratops in reddish sandstones. It was subsequently analyzed by the paleontologist Walter W. Granger, who identified it as reptilian. On 21 September, the expedition returned to Beijing, and even though it was set up to look for remains of human ancestors, the team collected numerous dinosaur fossils, and this provided insights into the rich fossil record of Asia. Back in Beijing, the skull Shackelford has found was sent to the American Museum of Natural History for further study, after which Osborn reached out to Andrews and team via cable, notifying them about the importance of the specimen. So let's look at this real quick. He named it after himself. And that looks fake, guys. So that doesn't look like... you guys, just real quick, you guys have gone and found skulls, and this doesn't look anything like it. But let's just say it is real. Let's just say it is real. Let's just say it's not a fabrication or part of some other animal. It's not like people would lie. It's not like people would make up shit to become famous. It's not like they would do that. It's not like they might, combine different animals into, the shape of a certain one. And maybe add like a beak. maybe glue it together or find some sort of mud or plaster or make some sort of organic material. Like maybe like, let's just, nobody would actually ever just make this, right? Nobody would ever do that. That sounds crazy. Even though I could probably look up some examples. They had to say authentic for a reason. In 1923, the exhibition again prospected the Flaming Cliffs, this time discovering even more specimens of Protoceratops and also the first remains of Oviraptor. We got to look all this stuff up. Most notably, the team discovered the first fossilized dinosaur eggs near the holotype of Oviraptor, and given how abundant Protoceratops was, the nest was attributed to this taxon. This would later result in their interpretation of Oviraptor as an egg thief. In the same year, Granger and William K. Gregory formally described it. So this is how they create the lore. It's like, it's less in depth than Warhammer. They're like, we found an egg near this thing. Now we're going to give it we're going to personalize it. We're going to give it a personality. We're going to give it like a character set. And all these faggots who watch Marvel are just going to fawn over it. Oh, it's an egg thief. Look, oh, this animal. We found a fucking egg near this 5% complete skeleton. It was an egg thief, guys. That's just what it did. It stole eggs. Bunch of idiots. These guys are the kings of jumping to conclusions. Let's see. It says the co-authors also agreed that with Osborne, the co-authors also agreed with Osborne that Asia, if more thoroughly explored, could solve many major evolutionary gaps in the fossil record, which it never did. Although not stated in the original description, the generic name Protoceratops is intended to mean first horned face, as it was believed that Protoceratops represented an early ancestor of ceratopsids. Other researchers immediately noted the importance of the Protoceratops finds, and the genus was hailed as the long-sought ancestor of Triceratops. Most fossils were in an excellent state of preservation, with even scleral rings, delicate ocular bones, preserved in some specimens, quickly making Protoceratops one of the best-known dinosaurs from Asia. It says that they went again and they found more shit. By that time, the Protoceratops had become one of the most abundant dinosaurs of the region, with more than 100 specimens known, including skulls and skeletons of multiple individuals at different growth stages. Though more remains of Protoceratops were collected in later years of the expeditions, they were most abundant in the 1922 to 1925 seasons. Weird that they only found that animal in a span of 3 years. Gregory and Charles published other descriptions of the Protoceratops in 1925, discussing its anatomy and relationships. Let's see the most complete. Oh, okay. Holotype skull. So I don't know what that means. I think holotype means it's a recreation. Let's look at what a holotype skull is. Okay. It's it's defined as a single physical specimen explicitly designated as the name-bearing type specimen of a species, chosen by taxonomists as the most representative and or best preserved individual, and typically deposited in a museum or research institution for further study. So that is, they have these holotype skulls. These examples that everything else is based off of. So that's supposedly that fucking thing. Eggs and nests. So this stuff was found 100 years ago, but in 1975, the Chinese paleontologist Zhao Ziku named a new blah, 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 including them in a new family. Okay. I guess it doesn't really want to fucking get into, it doesn't really show any photos of all this shit. Talks about social behavior. Okay, let's continue on. I don't know about that one. Let's see. This is the nest right here. About 80 million years ago in the Gobi Desert, 16 dinosaurs hatched in this nest. One of the hatchlings died before it left the nest. Bad news for the hatchling, but good news for scientists. This evidence tells us that this nest once contained trutonid dinosaurs. So that's not real. None of that's real. You guys see that? That's not real. Let's see. That's from the American Museum of Natural History. So that is the supposed nest found. This is what they'll see, and they'll say that it belongs to. They're just fucking silly. The skeletal reconstruction of the adult, showing preserved bones in white. So just so you guys know, this is what they'll tout as like a very complete skeleton. They found these white pieces right here, and then they extrapolate all of this and what its head looks like as well. They've never found the skull. They have no idea what the skull. So what they found was they found a pelvis, a femur, a tibia, a foot, fingers, and a forearm, and some vertebrae. That's what they found. So that's really fucking impressive, dude. Okay, so that's bullshit. Tail in amber. Like a scene from Jurassic Park, this 99 million year old specimen is fully intact. Is a fully intact tail of a small dinosaur, complete with brown and white plumage. I don't even need to really get into that because that's not the tail of a dinosaur. And Sioux, the number one most important discovery of all time. So you have Sioux, which is 90%, okay? And then you have this, which is, let's see the percentage that this one was. Let's see the percentage of this one. Where was I just now? This. So anyway, I'm going to finish here. Dinosaurs are fucking bullshit. This shit's fucking retarded. How the fuck do they know that the head looks like that? They have 12 vertebrae and fucking some bones and a hip. And they don't even know if it belongs to the same fucking animal. They're just guessing. All of everything else that's not shaded white is literally just guesswork. It's just so fucking stupid. Anyway, guys, you have a good night. Dinosaurs are stupid, fucking fake and gay. I'm going to look at the YouTube real quick. Am I able to take you on a hike for your next podcast? Do you live in Colorado? Okay, so this guy just randomly started commenting. She left and took the kids, but I just got my 100 VA, and I know about all the outcome dependence and shit, but I do have foo-foo fairies in my head still. Everyone knows dinos are fake. Oil is self-generated by the way God made the land. It's energy. Toucans fucking need to make money somehow. So they coined the phrase fossil fuels. That's all true. She left and took the kids. That's a funny fucking thing to just hop in and start with, bro. That's hilarious. We have more oil in the States than anywhere. It's fake, man. It's all fake. One lie makes them all lies. Absolutely. 100% agree. It's all founded on lies. Dinosaurs are fake and gay. We all know this, guys. Now we know, especially I just ran you guys through the top 10 most significant dinosaurs. I'm sure I just showed you guys more research than anybody else has on fucking dinosaurs. We just went through everything. And, you know, I don't even really need to look too much into it. Like, we can look at all those different studies, but I mean, dude, like, you don't need to be that fucking smart to see that all of this shit is bullshit. Like, look, even if this is like the second most complete skeleton of all time, look how complete this is. And look at, like, how the fuck do they know that the head looks like that, bro? Like, they don't. They're like, oh, we're basing it off of other species of dinosaurs that we found. But we just saw that the other species of dinosaurs that they found are also, most of them are just bullshit too, and also based off of other things. So that's how you get people who are supposedly so smart saying such dumb gay shit, okay? Because just like you have all these psychologists, which are supposedly intelligent, basing their entire paradigm off of these assumptions, like Freud was right about everything. And then you just have all these people who make all of these different convoluted fucking things because they're trying their hardest to make their presuppositions work. They're like, oh, dinosaurs must be real, obviously. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do if dinosaurs are real? We're going to have to make this work. We just found some bones and we just found some vertebrae. They're real, and we don't want to make our time in Beijing or whatever the fuck useless. We still want to get money and we want to get paid. So I'm going to gaslight myself into believing we just found a very important discovery. And I have a couple of guys with me who have degrees in a very stupid and useless field, and they also want the same thing. So I have a bone expert or whatever who's like, oh, well, this looks like it could be the genus of fucking poopy butthole dookie doo, syphilis X. And, well, these vertebrae traditionally are found in lizards, and they are usually like this. So I'm guessing that it has 30 vertebrae, and these 4 vertebrae look like the C6, C7, C8, C9 vertebrae, so we're going to put them like this. And then this hip bone, well, this looks like the hip bone. I mean, it has to belong to these vertebrae because they're in the same pit, even though they don't know if it belonged to the same animal. We've never seen this animal before, this combination of bones. Well, maybe because it's combined from, maybe it's not the same animal. And they're like, oh, we're going to combine this hip bone. Oh, I'm guessing the hip bone looked like this because, well, traditionally, since I'm assuming that it's of this genus of animal, they stood upright. And then the hip was usually located right here. So I'm going to put this right here. And the leg bones, I'm guessing because of other animals that people were also guessing about, they look like this. And then I'm guessing its head looked like this because I have a fucking fan art page, a fucking anime fan art page, and I am very artistic. And we have a head guy here who reconstructs dinosaur heads, and he's an expert on dinosaur heads. And it had to have had a beak because its fucking vertebrae look like this, and its vertebrae and its fingers look like this, and its hip was here. God damn it, guys! You don't see how fucking stupid this is? That's how it happens, though. That's exactly how it happens. That's like you go to like, imagine if I did this, guys. Imagine if I went to a crime scene, okay? Imagine if I created a crime scene that made no sense. Imagine if I put a couple bullet holes in my wall, I put a knife on the ground, and I grabbed some blood, I splattered it on the wall, and then I put a purse on the ground, and then I went in the kitchen and I pushed over some knives and opened a couple drawers, and then I just went over to my chair and I tipped it over. There is no significance to anything I just did. But if I just told some supposed crime scene investigators, experts in their field who've been in the industry, who've been doing this for 20 years, and I told them that a crime definitely happened here, what do you guys think happened? They would all come up with the most convoluted, retarded nonsense. That's what they would do. And they're experts. And they've been doing this forever. So people would say, oh, that must be what happened. Because they'd say like, oh, well, there's gunshot wounds here. There's blood on the wall. So, I mean, there had to have been a struggle. There had to have been a struggle. That person got shot. They ran into the kitchen. They were bleeding out, trying to get a weapon. When the person came up behind them, grabbed them, and then there was a struggle in the living room. And then it tipped a chair over. And we don't see any drag marks. So the individual must have been a 28-year-old man, prior military experience, very strong. We're guessing between 5'10" and 6 feet tall, weighing 210 pounds, because that's roughly what it's going to take to carry an average-sized woman with ease without making any struggles or bumping into walls. Do you hear all the bullshit I just made? I just made that up. Okay, and that's something that these people would come up with if I created a fucking crime scene. Because do you know what these people are doing? They are coming with the presupposition that a crime happened. So what do? They do everything they possibly can to put all of these pieces together and make this, what you're looking at right now. They're like, well, I'm a dinosaur expert, and this is definitely a dinosaur, and these are bones, and blah, 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 blah. So I just laid out how all this shit's bullshit, and I'm right. I'm 100% right. You guys have a good night. Thank you for everybody who listened the whole time. That's fucking crazy. You guys should have something better to do with your time. But yeah, I had a good time, guys. You guys have a great night. God bless you guys.